Cool. All right. So welcome to Work Friends Podcast. We are trying something new today. My name is Tyler. I'm your host. I'm here with my friend. We're trying no names. So this is going to be, I don't know, something new we're trying here. So I'm also trying to do like a portable thing. I usually record at my house. This time I came over to my guest. Anyway, honored to have you on the show today, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be on here.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, but vague because redacted.
Yeah, exactly. Redacted. So this is gonna be awkward as fuck for about the first 20 minutes. I don't know. But once we get rolling though, it'll like feel more natural and stuff. So, yeah, man. So I mean, the whole point of my show is to really just kind of get honestly to know my friends a little better. All my friends have really cool jobs. Like you are a mechanic.
Yeah,
my other friends. Yeah, I got another friends who's like engineers and. That's cool and all, but I don't really know what the fuck that means. I don't know what you actually do, for your day-to-day job. Mechanic, all I know about that is that you fix cars. That's it. That's all I got.
I change oil every day. Lefty loosey, righty tighty,
there
red
you
to
go.
red, black to black.
You sound like you got it all memorized.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I don't really understand what anybody actually does for a living. That's kind of what I wanted to start this show for. But not only that, I also wanted to like figure out more about your life and how you got to where you are right now and, what your plans are for the future, all that good shit. So, how you doing today, man?
Yo, bro, I'm solid. Hey,
yeah.
Work friends, got off of work. We're just hanging out, met up, recording the podcast. I'm excited to be here. What's your first question?
Yeah,
Come
man.
on. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be pretty cool. So I guess I really just kind of want to start with, I usually take people start at like high school.
Yeah, high school in the state of Virginia.
All right, right on. Did you grow up in Virginia?
I'm not, I did not. I was not born in the state which I currently reside.
I got you. Okay. We can avoid talking about the state where you were born in, I suppose.
No, I'll tell you about where I was born in. Yeah, I was born in New York State.
Yeah, sure. Kind of grew up there. Just you moved down here pretty quickly afterwards.
I spent my childhood and early adolescence in New York State, and then I moved to Virginia, and I did a majority of my formal education. High school and community college dropout.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, community college dropout.
Okay, you went to community college? I didn't know that.
Dropped out of that crap.
Yeah.
Didn't make $10,000 by finishing it. It's a long story, but we can get into that later, man. What's up?
Didn't make $10,000?
I didn't make $10,000.
We can get into that later. Yeah, I don't know. Were they giving away 10 grand at community college?
No,
we'll get into it.
It's a whole story, man. Let's start with high school. We're in Virginia or New York, so I did my formal education, graduated high school in the state of Virginia.
Okay, cool.
My personal education path. So I about 8th grade, 8th grade, taking the SOLs. I realized, I'm actually pretty artistic. I like, I'm pretty good at design, and my initial path. I went into high school that had a program that specialized in engineering.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, and I did the first 2 years of that program to specialize in architectural engineering.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you. I don't think you've listened to any episodes yet, which is fine.
No.
I'm not mad at you or anything. I promise. I've interviewed what I think 3 or 4 other guests that also went to Bird. I only knew that one of them went to Bird. I had no clue about the other ones.
Well, as my pops always said, people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And most of the people that I met, I also accompanied the same year my brother was a senior.
Oh, okay.
I was a freshman, and I grew up around more of a mature crowd, especially in hunting.
Hang out kind of with your brother's
with a mature
friends.
crowd because in New York you're always Mr. this, Mr. that, Mr. this, and then the South it's sir and ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to give. Look, I'm a lazy bitch.
Same. I get
I'm
it.
concise. I don't care. I paid you respect. I was born in New York. I called you Mr. and then the teacher's last name. If I call you Mr., I'm showing you respect.
Yeah.
Because I'm from New York. I come down to the South, and first year, within 6 months of my first year in Virginia schooling, my parents actually had to go up to school because I was accused of being disrespectful because I wouldn't say sir and ma'am to my teachers.
You were being Mr. Disrespectful.
Yeah, because I said Mr. or Mrs.
Because you wouldn't say sir or ma'am.
I wouldn't say, hey, excuse me,
Man,
sir.
that's wild.
I'd say, Miss Pavko.
What? What's wrong with that? I don't think I've ever once called a teacher.
Hey,
sir or
I
ma'am.
grew up in a pretty, I grew up in a little
Maybe
modern, rural, old school. Where I grew up, you know where?
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot of old school tendencies.
I hear you.
Like 30 years prior to where we were moving there, the house where I grew up, one of the people you interviewed, I lived near Brandon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
living near him, his father was the first house on that road. He actually rabbit hunted where our house was, and then they developed it.
Nice.
So it's real southern.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
So super ma'am, sir.
So, yep, sir,
casual
ma'am,
racism
everything.
here and there. The whole nine, but we're in the suburbs.
I hear you.
We're in, not rural Virginia, but it's pretty rural.
Right. A lot of, well, I don't know.
Old school principles.
Yeah, old school principles. There you go. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So, sir, ma'am, was what? So, what happened? Your parents had to come.
Yeah,
up
they
to
had to
school
come up to school and convince them that I wasn't a horrible delinquent.
Yeah, you were just being respectful. Just
Yeah. So I just
not the way they wanted to.
Yeah,
but
I don't know why we got on this subject.
Well, because we were talking about high school and being in the engineering program.
Yeah, back to high school.
So I didn't know you were in the engineering program.
Yeah, I did 2 years engineering program.
Yeah.
My initial thought was I was going to be an architectural engineer.
Right on. That's cool. All right.
Yeah, it's really fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoy learning. I actually am. I learn even now mainly through educational YouTube videos.
Hell yeah.
I do a little encyclopedia reading.
YouTube University.
Master of none.
Oh, all right.
Jack of all trades. I know a lot. I'm on the north end of intelligence. So I like to learn. Math is fun.
Okay.
Math is useful.
Ugh.
I mean,
All right.
math is funsies, bro.
Sure.
I enjoy it. Numbers, statistics, boom. Computational.
I suppose so.
Well, it's instead of use intuition, I use numbers.
All right,
we
fair
get
enough.
the same thing.
Fair enough.
But
Fair
it's
enough.
just, slightly different, but the same.
I've
But
just always been bad at numbers. Math has always been hard for me. But
I grasped numbers pretty quick through high school.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be an architectural engineer. Then I was going to be a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Mechanical engineer because I wanted to work with my hands.
Okay. Cool.
But they blowed smoke up my boo-boo, up my butt.
Yeah.
And it was all sitting behind a desk. I was like, hey, I want to work on my hands and my feet.
I see.
I do not like to sit behind a desk.
Yeah.
I got a lot of energy. I need
Okay.
stuff to do. So I decided, actually, if I'm smart with my money, I live a frugal life.
Okay.
I make $150,000 a year. What can I do to make me $150,000 a year with the least amount of effort? Because I'm lazy.
Sure.
Concise.
Yeah.
It's the human condition.
Maximum effort or maximum. What is it? Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Exactly.
That's what I was raised on.
Yep, because well, it saves energy. Back when we were caveman unga bunga, we did the lazy thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I need to make like $150,000 a year. I need full benefits. HVAC would be super nice. So I decided, I'll be a mechanic.
Okay.
So I dropped out of the engineering program and I went to the VOTEC program. And they had a 2-year program
good.
2-year program for automechanics.
Okay, cool. So you did the engineering program for like 2 years and then went to
9th and 10th.
Okay.
And then 11th and 12th, my elective course, instead of studying to become like engineering 101 in college, I went to do this 2-year high school program and either go to a vocational college like UTI, ITT Tech.
Oh, okay.
Go to those, or you could step directly into becoming a mechanic.
Nice.
And especially with their 2nd-year program.
Right out of school, you do that.
Well, the 2nd-year program is senior if you did well enough in the first, and school's really easy.
Okay.
It was for me.
Yeah.
I'm really good at memorization.
Yeah.
And if you can memorize something and barf it back on a piece of paper, you get 100.
Yeah, pretty much. I was always pretty good at like taking tests, but like if I had to, I don't know, if I had to like do a presentation or like make something like from scratch, that was when I always like didn't do the best because I'd have to like do critical thinking and like, you know what I mean? I couldn't just remember the words and then just feel like that's the answer.
I said math was funsies.
Yeah.
Because when I would do it, I would remember the syllabus and it would be homework 10%, everything else accumulated. I hated doing homework.
Yeah, homework sucked.
I didn't need it. I already understood it. And I went, homework's 10% of my grade. If I do none of my homework and get 100 on everything else, I'll still get a 90. If I do a 90 on everything else, I'll still get like an 85, which is still a B. So I went, I'm doing 0 homework.
That was my mentality as well.
But I would sometimes get it done in class.
Yeah.
Because, like, I flip-flopped between honors and C-level. Because, like, honors makes you work hard, and I'm lazy.
Yeah, yep.
But then I would go to C-level, and I'm like, these people are dumb.
Yeah. I had to do, like, a not remediate. It was like a C-level, like, math class. It was like Math 101. I was learning, in 12th grade, they were going over, like, basic geometry shapes and shit like that. I was, like, parallelogram, stuff like that, and I was like, holy shit, I went back too far. I went from like honors algebra 2 or whatever to shapes. So
yeah,
and that was my first class of the day, and I was like, what am I even doing here?
I did 2 years of math because that was all required to get your high school diploma.
That was all you needed to do?
Yeah, you only needed 2 years.
Huh.
Or maybe it was 3. I could be wrong.
It might be 3. I think.
It might be 3, but I definitely took the C level, and that was super easy.
Yeah, it was super easy.
But I didn't.
anyway.
But those kids were stupid, in my opinion. So I didn't
Yeah.
like being there, so I'd be quiet, and that's when I would do my homework.
I got you. Okay.
Because in high school, personal finance, which was a required class to graduate, the entire year, like maybe 10 times.
10. You went
10 times the
Pretty
entire
good.
year. I skipped the rest.
Yeah.
I graduated my high school with like 180 hours of seat time.
Pretty good. Is that good?
Well, like in the state of Virginia, you have to sit in your class for a certain amount of hours.
Okay.
So if you miss too many days, you have to
right,
make
right.
up the time you missed, and they call it seat time.
I see. Okay.
So I had missed pretty much the entirety of my personal finance.
Right.
12th grade. My 12th grade English year, I never had a parking pass, so I always parked in the junior lot.
Nice.
And parking in the back corner of the junior lot, it just happened to be the shortest path from my homeroom, if I showed up to homeroom that day,
Right.
was to walk past my English teacher and go out those doors, because that was the closest shot out of the building to where I parked my truck. And the first time I skipped her class, she walked in, she was like, "Good morning." I was like, "Morning." And I walked by, and she turned around because I felt her eye.
No.
And I just kept walking. And I left the building. And then, like, I don't know, I think I skipped her class for, like, the rest of the week or two.
If you just don't turn around, she can't see you. That's all it is.
Well, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because if she tried to stop me, I would say, you can try to.
You just feel her like laser beaming into the back of your head, just
Well,
Superman.
She was one of those teachers that stood catty-cornered by their
yeah.
door, so it was like, you would say hi, and that was the moment when you would initiate, she wanted you to, like, when you would turn into the class.
Yeah.
So she was standing there, and she looked at me, and she said, "Good morning," and I said, "Good morning," and I just walked right past her. She, like, it would be like if you opened a door for somebody, and they just...
Oh,
and you just didn't walk in.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
That's how it actually went.
And your parents got called to the school for what now? Being disrespectful? Or...
Yeah,
I'm
well,
just
that
kidding,
was
I'm
in my
kidding, I'm
senior
kidding.
year because I didn't
I know,
care
I'm
about...
just-
Yeah, my father's sitting...
Diabolical.
It happens to be
Yeah.
here at the spot. Where
Yeah,
we're
this is also a
recording.
new. I usually only have one guest. I've got 2 guests, and I like. And this is maybe I need a co-host or something.
I know he's gonna Fox News dad it up and
I love
YouTube,
that.
Facebook argument. He'll be fine.
Hell yeah, good to
He'll
go.
be good. He'll be good shit. He'll interject here or there.
All right.
Maybe.
Oh, I welcome it. But yeah, so you did what was it? It was the vocational school. Was that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta get back on topic.
Yeah. We're getting there. No, we're getting there. This podcast is all tangents.
So, high school,
Yeah.
2-year vocational, 11th, 12th grade. They had the standard for the first year. I did the first year program,
Okay.
and then you had to like apply based on your grades, and you had to like write a reason, and you could get
What?
into the advanced second year program.
And this would have been like your 12th grade year.
12th grade year.
Okay.
And the claim to fame there is, our schedules were set up even and odd days. So even days you had, classes A, B, C. Odd days were D, E, F.
Okay.
So it was odd day specifically for me. The last odd day of the week, so either Thursday or Friday, I didn't actually have to show up to that class at all.
Nice. Okay.
I could go to work. And one of the requirements for getting in the advanced is during the summer between your junior and freshman, 11th and 12th grade year,
Yeah.
you had to get a job. And I ended up getting a job at a Dodge dealership.
Okay. Cool. Did they help you get the job at all, or like?
No.
No. It was just you had to.
They,
Good luck.
Well, I could put down on my resume that I was in a high school vocational program, and it's not uncommon for dealers in Virginia to hire high schoolers as part-time help.
Okay.
Called helpers. They train under somebody, or they're just express guys, just like Jiffy Lube, Firestone, in and out, 5-minute service.
Okay.
That's how I started.
Nice. At a Dodge dealership, you said.
Yeah. I did 18
Cool.
months at a Dodge dealership.
Okay. 18 months.
Worked under 2 team leaders, 2 different service advisors, same management. So.
And what were you doing there? You were just
I
helper?
I started as a helper for Green Team.
For Green Team?
Green Team. We
All right.
had 5 mechanics. And so mechanics rankings, you have like an A tech, a B tech, a C tech.
Yep.
So an A tech can do anything under the sun without the help.
Mhm.
Maybe they're the lead guy, master tech. And
Okay.
the B level tech, those are your second batch. Those guys, they can do everything except complex electrical diagnostics.
Sure. Okay.
And then your C-level techs, they can do your standard services. So your maintenance, plug, lube, oil filter, plugs, diff, maybe reseal an oil pan, maybe yank an engine. Really, those are B-level techs, but mainly your C-level techs, they're going to be, those are the first people when they graduate from hourly to commission-based,
Okay.
where they can tread water. They can turn enough hours to survive.
Okay.
And then you would have your helper, which is hourly.
So you got A, B, C, and then helper.
And then, helper, oil change bitch.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Apprentice. Name that the industry likes us to use.
I hear you. So you're basically just doing like oil changes and air filters.
Yeah, I started as an apprentice. We worked on a team system. So we had 3 technicians. We had an A tech, a B tech, a C tech, and we had 1 hourly person, this fat bastard.
Okay.
So I was in high school.
Yours truly.
I mainly skipped high school to go to work because I liked money more than education.
That's fair. You should be allowed to do that, I feel like.
So I skipped high school. Actually, my parents had to go up to my job and tell him, don't let him come to work when he skips school.
No shit, really?
Yeah. And my service manager then said something to me because he's supposed to report to my school, and he says, I don't care if you graduate. You got a job.
All right. Well, damn. So what happened? You graduated high school?
I graduated high school.
Okay.
I went through the second-year program, and during the second-year program, I was able to have the last odd day of the week off to go to work. So
While you're in high school?
While I was in high school. So that was their benefit. I just, extended it personally to also include all my other classes.
I got you. Nice. Right on. Cool.
And I also was able to get a state inspection license.
Which is pretty big.
Yeah. Some states require a certified inspector to determine if your vehicle has any safety concerns.
Okay.
And in the state of Virginia, you will have concerns, of course, like rotted frames or tires that are bald,
right,
or bad suspension components and such like that. So you're also able to learn that test, and it's a bitch of a test.
I believe it. What was it called again?
It will be your state inspection license test.
Okay.
And it's a 100 question written test and a practical exam. To where you have to write a written test that gives you practical knowledge about 5 different subjects. So it's 5 20-question subsections, and you have to score an 80% better on all.
Man. Okay.
Yes.
So you can miss 20 questions, basically.
No, you can miss 5 questions. You can miss 4 questions per 20 subsections.
Oh,
so
I see. Okay.
General information, drivetrain, steering and suspension, glass and glazing, and lighting.
Okay.
So those are the 5 different. So it's 5 20 questions test. You have to score an 80% better or higher. And then after all of that knowledge you've accrued, you will, in front of a state inspector, he will say, perform a state inspection.
Oh, man.
And then he holds a clipboard and stays silent, and then you have to perform an inspection.
Jeez. And how old are you this time? You're like 17?
You're allowed, if you would be 18 by the end of the last semester, you were allowed to take the test because you had to be 18 years old.
Okay.
But they would let you take the test up to like 3 months early.
If you're going to be 18 by the time.
It was a benefit of doing the vocational program.
I see. Okay.
And another thing, at that time, to get your license, you have like a 200-page thick black and white book. And if you wanted to pass the state inspection test, you had to learn all of that.
Oh, man.
But they would teach it in school, so we got easy learning because they broke it up into subsections. So, today in class, we're going to learn about what in steering and suspension fails.
And then you take a test on it.
If it's depending, is the upper or lower ball joint on load? How would you support the vehicle to measure ball joint play for state inspection?
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
I got all that.
Yeah, and you would have practical, and you would have to write that down written, and then you would have to do that practically to get your test. And it's quite difficult.
I can imagine.
And it also requires a criminal background check.
Okay.
It also requires a credit check.
Why a credit check?
Because they don't want anybody to have leverage over you to sell a sticker.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because if you sell a sticker...
By the way, I've been meaning to ask you about... Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hey, if it passes, you'll get one. If it fails, you'll get another one. It'll just be pink.
It'll just be pink. I'm sorry.
Anyways. So I got my state inspection license in 12th grade, which was very beneficial to getting a job because if you have a state inspection license, you can almost get a job anywhere.
Because they're pretty not hard to come. Why is that? I feel like, you got to take the big old test for it and all that.
It's because you have to take 100-question test.
Okay, and that's why they're so hard to come by.
And a practical test, and nobody helps you to learn the information. You have to read like a manual.
Yeah.
And it'll be set up. It'll be like, and this is what you'll have to read. glass and glazing, suspension, inspect and reject, and it'll have bullet points of everything that you would inspect and reject.
I see.
So,
Okay.
if you have a bushing completely torn or through, if you have a control arm that is broke or damaged, if you have a suspension component that is bent, if you have a ball joint that has more play than manufacturer specification, if you have a tie rod end that has, a ball and socket joint in a rack and steering system can have 0 play. A ball and socket joint in a gearbox steering can have a specified manufacturer's amount of play.
And so you got to memorize.
You got to memorize
all
of
that stuff, and you can't just.
And then barf it back on a piece of paper.
Oh, man.
When they ask you.
Do you get a clipboard or anything to like? I mean, when you're doing a state inspection,
you get a Scantron sheet.
Fuck.
And you get 5 20-question Scantrons, and you get a 10, and it says,
At least it's multiple choice, I guess, right?
Yeah, but they're
some of it.
But then they're ASE questions.
Yeah.
So it'll be like technician A says
God.
a 1994 vehicle is allowed to have a hood scoop that is 2.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
Technician B says a vehicle made before 1993 is not required to have a high-mounted center third brake light. And the multiple choice is technician A correct for A? B will be, is technician B correct?
Yeah.
C will be, is it both correct? And D will be, are both incorrect. So it's not funsy onesie. So you have to do.
It's hard. It's hard. Just make it.
It's because they're mechanical automotive tests. They're really going for your mechanical aptitude.
Okay.
Because that's being a mechanic. Being a mechanic is really just playing a big old game of Clue and knowing that if you have 3 gears in a row, if you spin the first one clockwise, what will the third one spin?
Yeah.
That's mechanical aptitude, where you can figure out, you have intuition of, like, if this thing is doing something over here, and then magical electricity, blah, blah, tickles through the wires, and it makes things happen over here. You have to figure that out, and that's why the questions are set up that way.
That makes sense. You got to do some critical thinking. And
Yeah,
you
it's...
got to do some puzzle solving skills and things like that. So.
And that's what the questions are set up to do.
That
That's
makes sense.
They test your mechanical aptitude, and that's how you pass or fail. And then you have to practically apply that by doing a state inspection on a vehicle. And you also have to know, what's the first step? What's the second step? Okay, how do I check this? How do I check that?
Yeah. Is that the final test? Is you have to like do a state inspection all the way through, like a legit? Okay.
Yeah, and then you either get your license, and that's worth at least $1 an hour.
Hey, that's not bad.
And if you're hourly, that's $1 an hour, and if you're commission,
Makes a
that's
big
an
difference.
extra $1 on your turnable or your billable hours you'll receive.
Okay. So that's another thing you have to explain to me later is the commission structure.
Yeah,
Because I'm a salesperson and I get commission, but I feel like your commission is different than mine. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
But
So while I was in high school, I was working at a Dodge dealership.
Okay,
Started
yeah.
at Green Team. We had 3 techs, and I walked in the door after I got the job. Funny enough, I accepted the job offer. I got a call from the service manager. It says, "Hey, is this so-and-so?" "Yes, this is me." "Hey, we're just letting you know you got the job. When
Nice.
can you start?" I'm in my ecology class, and my
Answering
teacher.
the phone?
I answer the phone, and the teacher comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, we're in class." And I say, "Hold up, I'm on the phone. I'm getting a job."
oh my God.
And I answer, I go, "Oh, thank you very much. Yes, yes, we can start on the agreed day of Tuesday." And she's just like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, I just got a job offer."
Yeah,
I just got a job, so I was taking it. She's like, "You're in class."
Drop the mic.
Like,
I got somewhere to be.
sick bitch.
I gotta go to work. So how'd you take that? Is that what you did? You started your
And
job?
then I started working at Dodge.
Yeah.
I walked in. I met the service manager showed me around.
Cool.
This is the parts department. This is the locker room. This is your lead techs. These are who you're going to be working with. All right. So I started with the lead tech, and
Started working with him.
I started working with the A level tech on Green Team or on A Team. Green Team is where I started with the A level tech, and I'm working there. And the first thing he has me do is send me over to the B tech to give him a hand because he doesn't have anything to do.
All right.
So I walk over to the B tech. Mike, he looks at me and he goes, "What's up, you guzzling dumpster?"
Not much.
And I was like,
Hello, you too, sir.
you chin ball testicle, or whatever the I said.
Yeah,
I insulted him right back because guess what? Mechanics are assholes.
Yeah, he said you'll fit in just fine here.
Oh, dude, the Dodge dealership. Oh, that shit was crazy.
Yeah. Is that you're a Dodge guy now, right?
Yes, I do like the brand Dodge.
Is that what kind of set you off on, like when you got that job? Is that what kind of?
No, I worked with my dad.
Oh, okay, cool.
On his cars because my dad was poor. We grew up poor. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, sure.
My dad worked. It would be like say wave bye to Dad. He's going to
Yeah.
be gone for 72 hours because he would pull
good
his.
Lord.
He had his main job, and then he had a side security gig, and then he also worked at a damn hardware store.
Okay.
So it'd be like, say goodbye to Dad. He'll be gone. He's pulling 72 hours. And
Busy man.
Yeah, making all the fucking money. New
Yeah.
York State ain't a cheap place.
You
to
got
live.
you got kids, you got family to take care of.
So of course he had to be mechanical. He had to learn how to do his own brakes.
Yeah.
Save.
Yeah, gotta keep the wolves away. That's right.
Save the money where you can. It ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
So I was like, yeah, cars are fun.
All right.
I liked Harleys. Loved Harleys growing up. Like fast cars. Anything mechanical.
Did your dad have a bike growing up?
No. But his friend had a green Road King.
Okay.
Or was it black? Jeff was it green or black? He had a green, like 2000 Harley Road King. And I
Badass.
thought thing that was just as pretty as it could be, sitting over
Yeah.
there, potato. Oh, yeah, it was one of the first years of the Twinkie motors. All the Harley boys know that statement. Yeah,
All right. Twinkie motor?
yeah, twin cam.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
Yeah, they're big about their engines. You know, you got the knuck,
Yeah,
the
I
shovel,
gotcha.
the pan, the cone case.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
You know it all. All right. So
Yeah.
you're a Harley guy, a Dodge guy.
Yeah, Harley guy, Dodge guy, go fast, do burnouts,
Yeah.
blow up transmissions, you know.
Nice. So
I did
and
my fair share of bullshit in high school.
hey, we've all been there. I told the you know how I met John, right? John.
I'm not
yeah.
exactly sure how you met him.
He was doing J turns in his car in the snow with me, and he.
Yeah, I remember
and
when
he
my brother
smashed-
got the phone call.
Yep.
Hey, I fucked up. Hey, Danny, send me a phone call. And his damn car is taking a screenshot.
Yeah.
Boing.
The axle of his wheel was like. I mean, his wheel was like that. It was still connected.
He sheared the, I don't know what type of suspension it had. He either sheared the upper strut or ball joint and tie rod. So the only thing holding it on was the ball joint on the
Yeah.
bottom. So the fucking
wheel-
the wheel just
The wheel was horizontal.
fucking
It was-
face side
yeah.
down.
But that was me. That's how I met John. So
Holy fuck.
yeah, I know. It
High
all
school.
comes back together, huh?
Dude, I did so much stupid shit in high school.
Yeah.
It was fun, dude. Always centered around trucks, mudding,
Yeah, mudding was a big thing.
tits.
Always.
Oh,
Shirts, tires, or turbos.
dude,
That's all
I
you
loved
need, really.
everything
3
about
Ts.
performance. Racing, first truck, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, I did so many burnouts and
Yeah.
drifts in that. I blew up the rear diff in that thing 7 times.
Damn. This. No.
No,
this
no.
isn't here.
First truck. No.
Okay.
White 2003 Ram 1500.
Damn.
I blew up the rear diff like 7 times in 25,000 miles.
Holy shit.
Because
what are you doing to it?
it was a fault of the design. So it has a limited
Okay.
slip. So in the differential, it has metal on metal plates. They're friction plates, and they, when one wheel slips because of the way the gears are designed, it causes the plates to be squeezed,
Okay.
which in turn sends more power to the wheel that's not turning.
All right, that makes some sense.
You'd have to understand how a differential and spider gears.
Yeah,
And
I'd probably have to look at it to.
well, and the
understand.
fact that bevel gears, when you exert force on them, they don't exert force. They push out and they push down.
Weird.
So a bevel gear, when gear sets come at a 90 degree, like the circular ones?
Yes.
They're like mushroom shaped. They'll be like a 90 degree, so you twist here and it'll cause twist
Yeah,
here.
I got it.
Those are called bevel gears. And
Okay.
the way they're designed, when they push against each other, because of the way they push each other, they try to separate in 2 directions. So they try to push apart from each other in both directions, in a sideways, in a axial, and a lateral. So when it expands in the lateral dimension, it squeezes the plates together, which then locks the axle shafts to the carrier, which locks the spider gears to the carrier, which doesn't allow them to spin. Because when one tire is spinning and the other one isn't, the spider gears turn.
Okay.
Because it's all gears, so something's got to spin.
Right.
So when both tires are spinning, the ring gear drives, the pinion drives the ring gear, which turns the carrier forward. But when only one's spinning, one's got to sit still. All that twist is taken up by the spider gears.
Okay.
Because it's 4 bevel gears. This way and this way. They're 4 bevel gears. So what'll happen is the one that's sitting still, the bevel gear will spin.
Yeah.
And the spider gears twist and the ring gear. So the differential, get this,
Okay.
bro.
All right. I don't know if I'm getting any of this, but I'm trying.
yeah. So
Differential.
your rear tires, each one has to spin at 100% of carrier speed.
Okay.
So, or wheel speed.
Yeah.
So if one is sitting still, its 100% of wheel speed is transferred to the other.
So the other one has 200%.
Yeah. So if you specifically looked at the left rear wheel,
Yeah.
and someone was doing a burnout at 10 miles an hour.
Uh huh.
If both at 10 miles an hour carrier speed, if both tires were turning, both would be turning at 10 miles an hour. But if the right rear wasn't and the left rear was
20 miles.
20.
Got it. We're there. I followed. Holy shit.
Exactly. But what that does is when the spider gears exert the axial and lateral force and squeeze the clutch plates together, the spider gears are squeezed into the carrier and the axle shaft. So it's like it squeezes the axle shaft into the carrier so the spider gears can't turn.
Okay.
That's how a limited slip works. Exactly. Learn all of this to become a mechanic because, like, if you got a noise coming from the rear end, and it only happens when turning but not going straight, you need to understand what in the rear end is or isn't turning during the change of straight versus going around a corner.
Right. What is not turning or what is turning that should or shouldn't be.
When you go around a corner, your axles travel on two different arcs because they're separate.
Crazy to think about. Yeah, that
so
makes
the
sense.
inside tire will travel a shorter distance than the outside tire.
Right.
Because you know, like when you're going, inside track, outside track.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So because the outside one has to turn faster, they made a differential.
That makes so much sense.
Spinning levers.
What'd they do before that? It just didn't turn as smoothly, I guess? Or?
They would only have one axle shaft instead of two.
Okay.
Or they would lock them together. When you went around a corner, it would turn. The inside wheel would be doing a little tiny burnout.
Oh, okay.
So the inside tire would have to slip.
Probably turning radius too, not as good.
Yeah, it wants to push it straight.
Fuck yeah! All right, cool.
So they made the rear differential. So you have to be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
So going the mechanical aptitude test, because even like touching back on the state inspection.
All that to say, you got to learn a lot. You got to memorize a lot just to.
Yeah, and you have to have an intuition. You got to follow your nose.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Sherlock
when you go
Holmes.
around a corner, it's because the inside wheel and outside wheel travel a different distance.
Okay.
Okay, but the center, the average, the center of it, the differential in the middle, it travels. It doesn't have to. It travels the middle path. Okay.
Yep. All right. Yep.
So the rear, the differential allows the outside wheels to spin at a different speed without chirping.
Okay.
But the downside is they allow it. They will not send power to both rear wheels depending on the traction situation. So if you got one tire, they send power to the tire that has the least amount of traction.
Yeah.
If they both happen to have the same amount of traction, both will spin.
Okay.
If one has less, it will send all, if not all of it, a vast majority to the one that has less. So like, if let's say you just go off the ditch and you got an open differential and you go over and you got one wheel hanging in the air,
you go, fuck.
It's just gonna spin that one wheel.
I see. Okay, yeah, that'll happen.
But if you had
my ex-girlfriend did that at my parents' house once. It's very funny.
Yeah. So that specifically because I blew up that diff 7 times. That's why I know so much.
That's right.
About
okay, that's how you learn so much about differentials.
So much about it, and
you blew up the one about
because of the limited slip diff.
Yeah.
It had little tiny pieces of stamped steel, and when you do burnouts, it would cause the plates to slam back and forth in the carrier, and the little pieces of stamped steel would crack.
Oh shit! Okay.
And break, and now as you're driving, the ring and pinion is chewing up those little chunks of metal.
Yeah. So just
into pieces of metal, and then it just blows up the bearings.
Shoots up everything, and shoots up
metal
everything,
particulates contaminate the bearings, and they destroy them.
Okay, like literally shreds them, or like it's some
depending on how much you drive, how far you go.
I drive a lot. So.
Yeah, no.
Me in particular, it'd be fucked.
Most people will stop when the rear end starts howling.
Right.
Like it's like, when I'm on the highway and I let off the gas, all of a sudden I hear this noise and it goes.
That can't be good.
Yeah. No, that's a rear diff. They're super bad. They're super expensive. Hopefully you never have to buy one. But while working at the Dodge dealership.
Yeah. Dodge, that's how you. Well, that's
I learned all that shit working at the Dodge dealership.
Yep. You picked up your love of like Dodge and Harley and mechanical stuff.
Yeah,
working with your dad as a kid. And
I wasn't looking for a Dodge, actually. I applied to like 20 places, got 2 interviews, and they're the only one who offered me a job.
Right on.
I went, screw it, why not?
Yeah.
And
very convenient.
It was great. I mean, the Dodge dealership was a party.
That was 18 months you said you were there?
Yeah, 18 months.
Cool.
I did my first stint there. I was hourly the entire time.
Okay. I was going to ask, did you ever like move up from helper to like C or B or A?
No, they didn't give me a raise, so that's why I ended up leaving.
That's fair.
But before we get up leaving, I got to tell you the stories about being a mechanic.
Please do. I am a mechanic.
It doesn't.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that? I am a mechanic. It's like this. Have you seen it? It's like this like African dude, and he someone is like, "What gender are you?" And he goes, "I am mechanic." He doesn't understand the question at all. But But
I haven't seen the clip, but I've seen like a meme image
yeah,
of it.
I am mechanic. Anyway,
I am mechanic.
I am
Working
mechanic.
at the automotive industry,
Yeah.
as much as as much as Midas, or shout out Midas, or whatever JoJo Rudy Poot independent shop. Look,
yeah,
it's you don't want to walk in the back of the shop is not PC, bro.
no good. No,
It
yeah,
is like, you know how the people in the military
Yeah.
talk about like how fucked up.
for sure.
It's exactly like that.
Okay,
Except we're allowed to drink because we don't have the government to dishonorably discharge you.
pretty good.
Exactly, dude.
What? You can say it.
One of
You can tell us.
one of the two most embarrassing. The two times I've ever really felt embarrassing, or the two most recent times I felt embarrassed by something I said,
What did you do?
happened there.
Oh shit. Okay.
I walked in, and the mood is down.
Uh-huh.
And I go in there, and
Oh,
I
no.
walk up to my team leader. This time I'm working on red team.
Uh-oh.
And I go, man, what's going on? Everyone's head. Who died?
No, fuck.
As a joke.
Fuck.
The service advisor's daughter last night got in a head-on collision in one of the in her boyfriend's car and died. Texting and driving.
Yikes. Don't text and drive, folks.
Don't text and drive, folks. I was like, oh my God, that is so bad.
Damn, that sucks. We've all been there before, though. You didn't know.
A couple months later,
Oh, fuck.
I walk in, tones down again.
Oh, shit. Who died?
No way some motherfucker died.
No
again.
way.
Hey, who died?
Fuck.
Willie. You're fucking.
God damn it. Willie.
How'd Willie die? Well, on Friday night, Willie shot a man.
Shit, Willie.
Willie shot a man on Friday night.
All right.
Willie, he was sus. You know what? I'm a proud operator of staying my fucking lane.
Yeah. Staying out the way.
Exactly. I might pick up on certain things, the banded hundreds.
Yeah.
All right, the fact that he faces blunts all the time while washing cars.
Yeah.
He's a detailer making $12 an hour.
Pretty good.
Driving a $60,000 car
That's a red flag.
with a $10,000 paint job.
That'll.
It
Something ain't going right.
wheels,
Yeah.
tire, tint, yeah.
Something's not adding
Exactly.
up.
So Willie shot a man on Friday.
Damn, Willie.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Willie's shot was not as accurate as he probably hoped it to be.
Uh-oh.
So old buddy got out out of the hospital
Ops got him?
on Sunday morning, and old Willie.
He didn't waste no time.
Unfortunately, that man had better accuracy than
God
Willie, and
damn
he
it,
was no
Willie.
B.
Damn.
He ceased to be.
R.I.P.
Exactly.
Willie.
And actually, Willie's cousin is the
fuck?
reason I ended up leaving that Dodge dealership.
Oh, really? What did Willie's cousin do?
Because I got in an argument with Willie's cousin.
Fuck Willie's cousin.
I had just got denied.
Uh-huh.
I had just done 120 online modules
All right. That's
of
a lot.
training.
Yeah.
Exactly. Probably like at least 40 or 50 hours of online training.
Okay.
I had just completed, I had just been working there 18 months, okay? I just graduated high school with my state inspection license, which is worth $1 raise.
Yeah, that's
minimum.
true. And not very many people have them, because every
Exactly.
time I try to get one, they're like, oh, the state inspector's not here.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Which is actually illegal, because if you're a state inspection station and
Yeah.
you are open for business hours, you have to have a state inspector
I
on premise.
fucking thought so. I looked that up after
What-
they told me.
What's actually happening is they got one inspector and 15 people waiting, and they don't want to add another turd on top of the pile of
I
shit.
see. Okay, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
But instead of lying to you, they should be honest.
Yeah, I agree. They should be. I mean, I'm fine. Honestly, just tell me that. I'll come back another day.
Yeah, but I got in an argument with his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But working there 18 months, got my state inspection license, 120 online modules completed. I am the only helper that is working Saturdays for actual mechanics. I'm an hourly helper, but I'm covering for B and C techs. I am king shit
Okay.
when I'm the number one helper in the shop. Okay?
Yeah.
Every team wants me. I'm so much so that I don't even work next to my team leaders.
Dang it. Popular as hell.
Our shop was shaped like an L.
Uh-huh.
We had 27 bays on like the vertical.
That's a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
and
a
then
big
there
shop.
was and then on the L we had a drive-on alignment rack.
Okay.
We had a 2-post in-ground lift that was my bay, and then there was 4 flat detail bays.
Damn.
So there
Pretty
was
big
no
shop.
lift in them; they were just sloped floors.
Yeah.
So they could detail the cars.
Okay.
I worked next to them. I was the only helper. That was where they just punted people to grind hours.
I see. Okay. Where you were?
Yeah, where
Okay.
I was making money hand over fist. They
Yeah.
were just giving me gravy, and I was rolling out work.
Hell yeah.
I was the
Nothing wrong
number
with
one
that.
helper in the shop.
You were killing it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I just asked my boss. I was making $9.75, and I
Yeah.
asked him for $12.50.
Doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
Exactly. I worked there a year and
You
a
just
half.
said the detailer was making $12.
Exactly. 120. Yeah, but that's the thing. Low man on the totem pole.
I
The reason
hear
why
ya.
you get paid $9 an hour is they're betting on the fact that at least 60% of helpers on their first time will be the direct cause of a blown up engine or a crashed car or
I see.
a blown up trans. They left a drain plug loose. They over torqued a wheel. They left something like that.
That's wild though. That after 18 months, still they thought.
Well, no,
no.
that's just you gotta work up the totem pole. You
I hear
gotta
you.
start at the bottom and you
Yeah.
work up.
Makes sense.
So, 18 months there, and that looked at me. He said, "I'll give you $10.50." He didn't give me a whole dollar for my state inspection license when I asked for my raise.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And then to add insult to injury, this is right as I'm graduating high school. So my schedule is a little more flexible.
So you were also kind of hoping for a job, you know, that you.
Well,
could...
I had already been promised a full-time
Oh
job.
right. Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had already agreed to the fact that I was going to continue my automotive education. I was going to go to a community college and take a 2-year program that you got an associate's degree or bachelor's, whatever the easiest one is. And then you also just had like a certificate in diesel mechanic.
Okay.
My personal thought is I was thinking like eyes up for the future.
Yeah.
I thought cars were going to go, gas, hybrid, and then they were going to go hybrid electric, like locomotives, and then they were going to go full EV. But it actually turns out we went from hybrids to straight EVs.
Yeah, they kind of skipped a step there.
Now we're going full circle.
Going back to diesel.
You know how some EVs now have range extending gas motors? That would be a hybrid electric. Because that's how a diesel or a locomotive, it has a massive diesel engine, but it just drives a generator.
No shit.
And then it's electric motors that actually drive the locomotive.
That's what locomotive trains do?
Yeah.
No shit. I didn't know
it's
that.
diesel electric. So.
Do any of them still? Well, I guess a coal train.
No, you would have
still
steam.
use-
No, but
steam.
those are external combustion engines.
I see. Those are also probably outdated, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, those
in
are
the train
steam
world.
engines.
Yeah.
So that's the
True.
difference. External combustion, internal combustion.
Right on.
Internal combustion means the power generation, which on an internal combustion is the explosion of the fuel mixture.
Yeah.
And the piston going down all happens in inside of
all
the same unit.
Contained.
Versus a steam engine is an external combustion. You have a boiler that you boil water, and then it pipes air to the piston, and that's the piston action. So they're external combustion because the motor generates its power from an external source.
Okay.
The
being the air.
boiler of the steam locomotive.
Got it.
Versus your car are internal combustion. The power, the explosion, and the motor, the back and forth reciprocation, happens integrated.
Interesting. Okay. So all cars are internal
combustion engines.
Nice.
Yes.
Right on.
And then you could say that a hybrid electric would be an internal external combustion.
Yeah.
But that's like mincing words, like saying a hot dog's a sandwich.
I don't agree with that.
At your point of view, it's correct,
Sure.
but it doesn't matter.
From a certain point of view. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
So
cool.
I got in a fight with this motherfucker.
Yeah, it's Willie's cousin.
Willie's
Wouldn't
cousin,
fucking
this
give you a raise.
motherfucker,
Yeah.
dude. He wouldn't give me a raise.
Fuck this guy.
No. The service manager wouldn't give me the raise.
Oh, okay.
But I'm working in my little L bay next to the detail.
Right.
And I walk in this, and this is like a couple months after Willie died after unsuccessfully committing homicide.
I guess. Better luck next time. I don't know what to say there, but I don't know. Whatever.
Someone became a statistic.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So,
Better luck next time, Willie.
yeah, better luck next time. on the next go around
Yep.
on the wheel of life.
Yep.
So, Willie's cousin, he's all teed, upset about, of course, his cousin being shot and killed.
Yeah. That'll happen.
So, Willie is the lot manager.
Okay.
Lot guy, or Willie's cousin, is a lot manager.
Mm-hmm.
And what the lot manager does is just make sure that, hey, if there's any cars on the lot needs gas, if there's any cars on the lot's got a cracked windshield, or there's bird shit that got to get cleaned off, or
Yeah.
like starting cars every so often so the battery doesn't die. When he had nothing to do, he would help the detail because his cousin was a detailer.
Okay.
So he's detailing it in my fucking bay, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in there, I walk in.
He's in your workspace.
Yeah, and I got a waiter.
Yeah.
So you have call when readies and waiters. So a waiter is when you wait for you sit at the repair facility waiting for the service to be done.
Oh, you're talking about like the customers sitting in the
and
room
then you have
waiting.
call when ready tickets,
Okay.
which are the cars you got to work on.
Yeah.
They write up the repair order. We call them tickets for shorthand.
I got you.
The tickets are call when ready, which is the customer is waiting to pick up their car, waiting for us to call them saying it's done.
Okay, yeah.
So I get a waiter, which means this is top priority. You work on it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I walk in. I was like, hey, Bobby, get out of my. I was like, hey, Bobby, I got a waiter. I need to work in my bay.
Out of my way.
And he goes to me. He's like, man, you need to learn your place. I was like,
excuse me, bitch.
I was like, I know my place. It's called my
Yeah.
bay.
You're in my spot.
And then he started pop off. Oh, it's like, oh, you gonna talk bad, man? I'll teach you your place. Yeah. So then the fucking detail manager comes over and he's like, hey, break it up, break it up. So then I walk up front.
You guys are just arguing, not like physical competition. Yeah.
I was ready. Well, I mean, if you.
Yeah, you're ready.
Hey, look.
You're ready.
If you're feeling froggy, jump. But I'm not gonna start it.
Yep.
I might not win.
Yeah.
But you damn sure know you was gonna be in a fight by the end of it.
There you go.
So he fucking jumps down my fucking throat. We almost get in a fucking tussle. Lot manager detail manager breaks it up. I step back. I go to my service manager. I said, yo, you got to do something about Bobby that in my bay and he's talking shit.
Okay.
So service manager comes out like a couple minutes later, and I'm sitting off not too far off of my bay. But I ain't going to stand next to the motherfucker because he's still sitting there talking shit under his fucking breath.
I hate this. Trying to like rile you up and start
he
more
was just
shit,
pissed
probably.
off, and I was ready to. And we almost threw hands. We almost fucking scrapped.
Dude just can't stop talking sometimes.
But the funny enough thing, he actually got. I was working at the Dodge dealership. That chain had an Infiniti dealership as well. He got fired from the Infiniti dealership for getting in a fist fight with another employee.
This is ridiculous.
And then he gets hired at us.
All right, great.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that. We almost get in the fight. I was like, you know what? You ain't going to give me no money.
Yeah.
You're going to have an arrogant, ignorant motherfucker like that thinks he can scrap it where, I'm done with this place.
I think that's fair.
So I'm sitting there. I'm writing a state inspection at the computer one day. And all of a sudden, one of the service advisor comes out. And he goes, Rudy. And he says, hey, I'm leaving. Place I'm going for is looking for mechanics. Anybody want to leave? They wanted an A tech, a B tech, and a C tech. I was going to be the C tech.
Okay, cool.
So, Rudy, hey, we're looking for it. All right, get the state inspection, get the number from Rudy.
Are these like universal, like everywhere, every shop's going to have like A, B, and C techs? And
it's just verbiage.
Okay,
so,
okay.
You could call it, so an A tech would be your senior master, a B tech would be a master technician, and then a C tech would be like a certified technician.
Okay, I gotcha. So
yeah, so like certified, like for people who aren't in the auto industry, they know what ASEs are. So a C tech has some ASEs, a B tech has all of their ASEs, and a master tech or a senior master has all of their ASEs and has held them for a specified amount of time.
I got you, like re-upping them and renewing them and all that stuff.
Depending on manufacturer, depends on what the classifications are.
I see, okay.
So like, some require you to hold, like if you're working at a dealership, some will require you to hold all of your certifications for, some are 5, some are 7, some are 10. I specifically, at Subaru, we work at 7. So 7 years after the first day of factory authorized training, once you complete all of that and then get all 8 of your ASEs, you'll become a senior master. So that would be an A-level technician, which is what I am.
Okay.
I'm a senior master.
Currently.
Yeah, I'm a Subaru senior master technician.
Damn, big dog.
Yeah, and I'm the shop foreman. I am the head guy in my in the shop I work at now at a Subaru dealership. Yeah, whatever, you can edit. I gave up. I just won't say name.
No, it's cool. I'll cut out stuff that.
No, you don't know. You can say Subaru. I actually gave up on actually.
Did you? Okay.
I'm just not going to say my name.
We haven't really said anything too bad yet.
Exactly.
Anyway, so yeah,
exactly.
You haven't said anything worse than anyone else has said. So
far.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, true.
So far.
So
yeah, back
believe
to
it or not.
I know. Wow.
Well, actually, do you mind? This is everyone's favorite part of the show where I say I got to take a piss. Do you mind if I take a break real quick?
I don't give a shit.
This is a good stopping point there. So I'm gonna take a leak, and then we'll come right back. We'll be right back, folks. Yo, pardon the interruption. This episode of Work Friends is brought to you by Fat Skippy, Richmond's premier classic rock and country cover band. Whether you're into classic rock anthems or country favorites, Fat Skippy delivers an unforgettable live music experience. Plus, a huge shout out to them for providing the microphones and audio cables for the podcast. Am I in this band? Yes. Does this still count as a sponsor? Also, yes. Anyway, check them out on Facebook to see where they're playing next and support local music. It's Fat Skippy. Check this out on Facebook. Thank you. Back to the show. And we're back. All right. So I think we left off talking about. I might take one of those. I think we left off talking about. We just left the Dodge dealership. I believe. You were just quitting. You got in an argument with that fella.
Yep,
and,
I got into the argument at that fella.
How'd that end, by the way? You just kind of said fuck you and left?
It all just turned into talking and yelling and nothing.
Oh, okay.
Happened.
Okay.
Yep, and I was like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm looking for a new job. And funny enough, that Bobby dude, dick measuring contest somewhere else, flips a table. A mechanic is eating lunch on. And
this is the dude that you were fighting with?
Almost got in a verbal altercation.
Right, you were arguing with, yeah.
Wouldn't get out of my play and wanted to talk shit.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah, then he, not too long after that, before I left, after that happened and before I left, he flipped a table with a mechanic in the break room that a mechanic was eating lunch on, threw his dollar sub all over his chest.
That's bullshit.
Drink, chips, and all.
Yeah,
and
what a dick.
Dude, more power to that mechanic, because that motherfucker stood up, swallowed his pride, and walked up, said the service manager with vinegar dressing and a cucumber on his shirt, and said, I'm going the fuck home today, ask Bobby about it.
Damn.
And walks out.
Honestly, pretty good reaction. Probably the best thing you can do.
If you spill my sandwich, my chips,
I'm
my
gonna
fucking drink,
I'll kill you.
On my chest and my lap. That's like spitting in my face. I'm going to punch you in the square.
Absolutely. That's a throat punch.
I'm going to just fucking...
Yeah, that's a throat punch. You're allowed to throat punch. If somebody at the table and...
No, that's some punk shit. No, I'm a boxer.
All right, okay.
I'm not a boxer, actually. I'm fat and I'm lazy. I do fight, but if we are fighting, we're going to stand toe-to-toe.
Fair enough. I've only been in one fight before, and the dude was very drunk, so he swung at me, and he missed, and then I just came back, and I hit him once in the face, and then he was on the ground, and that was it. I didn't get in many fights. That's the only fight I've ever been in.
I tried to get in a lot of fights, but most people were scared. I don't know if they were scared to fight me or they were not interested in it.
I wouldn't fight you. Just saying.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I've been slimming down.
You have been. You look good, man. Yeah, I've been thickening up, honestly.
Yeah, significantly less. 1,300 calories a day, bro.
Just
do that, and you will lose weight.
That's not bad. Right now, I probably do about that, I'd say. So, I got it. But I don't do anything else at all, though. So, I don't know. I eat, probably once a day. Like today, I had what the fuck? I had a chicken sandwich. What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, we're on a tangent. So
yeah, we are.
So he flipped the fucking table on someone, and then he took a tool out of another mechanic's box, and that's a big fucking.
You can't do that. Even I know that. Even I know that.
Yeah. It's a good way to get in an argument.
Yeah, definitely. So that guy was being a dick.
Yep, he was being a dick, and this is all after we got in our argument. And I left. I got the fucking job working at Subaru.
Nice.
I was on a test drive, even though I wasn't hands-free at that time, but it wasn't a lot.
Was that? Wait, what?
I was talking on the phone. I literally wrote the state inspection. It was for a used car, which is a used car is like when you buy like a Toyota at a Dodge dealership.
Yeah.
It's a used vehicle that they just off-brand that they sell. So after you do it, you have to, after you perform some work on cars, you have to test drive it.
Mm.
If you put tires on, you want to make sure, they're balanced, there's no vibration. After you do an alignment, it drives straight. Or, there was a noise and I digress.
You want to make sure it's all good after you service
so I get the phone number from Rudy, the service advisor. I call the service manager, and I said, hey, my name's fucking,
yep, I got it. You say, hey, my name is Bart.
Yeah. I said, hey, my name is so-and-so. I got the phone number for Rudy. I'm looking for the job at Pearson. Or from Pearson, leaving Pearson, and I got the job at Subaru. I get the job, and I'm a stickler.
Okay.
You don't get it, but if you're a mechanic, you get it. There's a big difference between in-ground and above-ground lifts. And I refuse to work on an above-ground lift.
Okay.
An in-ground lift is where, you've been to my shop.
Yeah.
You've seen all the lifts are in the ground, and you've seen other shops where it has the two posts.
Yeah.
It's a big metal U. Mm-hmm. Those are above ground.
I'm trying to remember, does your shop have, the underground, underground bays that you can get up underneath? No. What are you talking about?
You have an in-ground lift and above-ground lift.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you can get on the Google.
Yep.
But if you Google in-ground lift versus above-ground lift, an in-ground lift, all of the All of the structure that supports the vehicle is under the ground. The only thing is some stuff rises out of the ground.
Yeah.
An above ground lift, it has the structure that supports the vehicle above the ground.
Okay.
And I hate above ground lifts.
Just because, why? They're scary?
No, just because I was significantly fatter at the time, and when you try to get out of it, it's like trying to like park next to a car that's too close.
Yeah.
Because, you're sitting in the car door, and there is a piece of square metal, and if you swing the door into it, you damage the paint.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
So I don't like above ground lifts. So
Fair enough.
I walked it. I did the interview, and when he said, "Do you have any questions for me?" I said, "Yes." Well, two funny things about that interview. I said, "Yes. Is it going to be in ground lifts or above ground lifts?" And he said, "In ground." And I said, "Good."
Right on.
Because he was the service man. He was going to be the service manager of a Kia dealership and a Subaru when we first started up.
Okay.
So when we first started up, he was pulling double duty, and I knew the Kia shop had above ground lifts, and I wanted in ground lifts. Mm-hmm. And if he said above ground, I would say no, thank you.
You're going to Kia. Yeah, I got you.
No, I wasn't. I was going to end the job interview.
Oh,
continue it and go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. Okay, so you find something else.
But I was kind of bummed. I really wanted to work for Subarus because I hate working on transversely mounted engines.
Okay.
And Subarus are all longitudinal.
All right. Hold on. Run that by us one more time.
Transverse versus longitudinal.
Okay.
Transverse is when
sideways.
Sideways when the crankshaft points at the frame rail. Longitudinal is when the crankshaft points at the emblem.
Got it.
So
that's pretty easy.
Well, it's just so that's the only difference.
Okay.
So I was like, Subaru only makes longitudinally mounted. They have no transversely mounted engines in their vehicles. So I went, bet.
Didn't know that.
And I was like, I'm not even going to be working on Subarus anyway because I thought I was going to be a diesel mechanic.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I was. I thought cars were going to go hybrid electric. Or then they were going to go diesel electric like trains do because the reason they chose diesel electric is it's the most efficient way.
Fuel, yeah.
Yeah, because internal combustion engines are actually, internal combustion engines are only like 15% thermally efficient.
Really? Yeah, because diesel engines can go a lot further on less fuel, right?
Well, it's because they're like 20% thermally efficient.
I see.
Or 35 because they have a higher compression ratio.
Okay.
And then like electric engines are like 99. Like
way more efficient.
Yeah, super way more efficient.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the only internal combustion engines that get close to that efficiency are like the massive 10 million liter, 30,000, like the ones in the tanker ships, 100 million horsepower because, it's a 7 billion ton ship.
Yeah.
Like, those also have like 90%, 95% thermal efficiency.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah, so thermal efficiency, it's because, you can't get something from nothing. Mm-hmm. So when you ignite the fuel, you create heat, sound, and light. So only 15% of all of the energy that's being generated goes to spinning the engine.
Okay.
The rest is either heat, sound, or light that gets shot out of the fucking tailpipe or dissipated in the cooling system.
Okay.
Or internal frictions within the engine.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I thought they were
knowledgeable on
how
engines work.
Yeah. I can tell you about rotaries.
Yeah.
2 strokes, 1 stroke. Well, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, different timing, valve timing, advanced. I can get super way into engine articulation.
You think you could build an engine from scratch? Like
on paper.
Yeah, how to.
I think when it comes to R&D and reliability testing, it's going to put my the dangling dick of destiny slap me in the face
Fair.
for my arrogance.
That could be pretty tough.
I might be Italian, but I don't think I'm no Ferruccio Lamborghini now.
You never know.
Hey, fuck you. I can build a tractor. Fuck your car. I'll build a car, too.
You can build a tractor and a car, yeah.
I mean, I think...
That was Lamborghini that did that, right?
I definitely have the intelligence to become... to do way more or do a harder job.
Yeah. Your job's
than being a mechanic, but I really only wanted to make like $100,000 a year.
That's pretty good.
Live my life frugally. I could have a new truck. I could spend my money. I mean, you know me. I live pretty comfortably. I got a new truck. I got a couple toys.
Yeah.
I go fishing. I do what I want. I really never am strapped for cash.
You own a house out here by yourself, and roommates.
And I don't have.
You got a car.
Yeah, exactly. Truck. My house is cheap. I chose the frugal life.
You got a bike?
Yeah, a bike? 2 motorcycles.
Dude, do you have 2 motorcycles?
Yeah, well, I'm actually selling one.
All right, well,
yeah.
I'm broke as fuck. Well, but once this podcast takes off.
Yeah, hey, who knows? I've got so many toys. I'm selling 3 toys to consolidate, to take the money from that to put in the new truck I bought.
Oh yeah, right.
Just because I don't want to have that many vehicles to maintain.
That's understandable. I just got the truck in the car, and just that alone is. You got a fuck ton.
I got the new Ram.
Yeah.
I got the 22 Ram.
Who's white? Dodge is that?
The white one's my pops.
Oh, okay.
So I got the 22 Ram.
Who's the Subaru?
The 83 Ram. That's mine as well.
The Subi?
That's
Subaru
mine as well. That's my daily driver.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Let me shut up and stop it. You go ahead. How many vehicles do you have?
I got the 22 Ram.
Yeah.
The 2012 Ram. I got an 07 Outback. I got an 83 Dodge. And I got a 68 F100.
Damn.
Those are the vehicles.
Where's the F100?
That's parked out by the burn. That's yard art, by the way. I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And one of the people, Brandon, I was helping him when he was delivering tractors.
Yeah.
I don't know if he touched on that.
He didn't really. I mean, he touched on the tractors thing. I didn't know that you were helping him. Actually, no, he did mention you.
Yeah, we side hustle making tractors.
Yep.
And we ended up going to Chester, and I got a 68 F100 for free if I could get it out of the dude's yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like 17, 18 years old, dude.
Yeah, I'll take that.
10 feet tall. I can build anything. Yeah, I can buff that out. And then when I realized one door hinge.
What?
So the door hinges, they're rusted out.
Uh-huh.
They're sagging. It's old. It needs two. They're $75 a pop.
Oh, damn. That's just
$300.
That's pretty.
That's when I realized, I can't restore shit.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
So then it became yard art.
Yep.
At Brandon's brother's house for quite a long time, and now it's yard art at my spot.
Right on. Oh, you towed it over here from your old spot?
Now it is, and now it's sitting over by the burn barrel, so I'll have somewhere to fucking sit.
I like it. Looks good out there.
Yeah, Eli even helped me move it a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Shout out to Eli.
Shout out to the Big E. So that's why I was so quick to make the call to get the job at Subaru. Get the interview.
And around how old were you right now? Like 20?
I was
19?
At that time I got the job at Dodge the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, 2015.
And at Dodge.
Yeah, and then I started November 16 at Subaru.
So you're probably
I was 17 at Dodge. I was 19 when I started at Subaru. I'm still at Subaru now.
Pretty fucking young. And how old are you now? If you don't mind, you're 20.
Redacted.
Oh, you want to say? Never mind. Redacted.
Someone can do the math.
My bad. Delete.
Someone can do the math. Yeah. So I get the job at Subaru. In the interview, two funny things of note.
Okay.
The in-ground lifts, and the other thing is he asked me, can I pass a drug test?
Yeah.
And I looked right at him and I said, to be honest, I quit smoking weed because I was doing all drugs and perks and weed.
Right. So you're doing a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I quit smoking weed
nice.
For 30 days. So I got in a fight with Bobby.
Yeah.
And then I had to wait 30 days.
Okay.
So I knew I could pass a drug test before I wanted to search.
Right.
And that's how I saw the other shit that went down with Bobby was that 30-day window. And then I got the 2 weeks.
Nice.
So I was like, he's like, can you pass a drug test? I said, I actually quit smoking weed to get the job. He's like,
nice.
Am I going to have to worry about you in the future? I said, no and yes. And he, what the fuck does that mean?
Being honest, I guess.
I was like, if I work in a state where marijuana is recreationally legal and I have a job that allows me to smoke it, I will smoke it.
Sure. Right on. All right. So you passed the drug test.
Passed the drug test.
Got hired
and I started. I was 19 years old. I get a tour of the shop.
Cool.
I meet the shop foreman. He'd been working on cars since 1974, working on Subaru since 1976.
Whoa. Okay. 1976.
Exactly. 2016.
30 years.
I start trading.
40 years.
I start trading under him.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was supposed to start with 3 techs, him as the lead, a B tech, and then me as a C tech. I get hired on $13 an hour. But one thing is I got told by a guy on my 2 weeks notice, before I do my interview, or when I make the job interview, I tell my team leader because he figured I was out the door anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, there's going to be a new shop. And you're going to be commissioned, and you're going to make no money. So you want a guarantee of the hours you work.
All right. Wait, hold on. So who's telling you this?
So that was my my team leader at Dodge.
At Dodge, okay.
Because the Dodge was a team system it was a team split. So you had 3 lead techs that were commissioned, and you had 1 or 2 hourly kids, and they were hourly. And commission means you get paid how many hours you can bill.
Okay.
So if you do a brake job in 30 minutes, and it pays 3 hours, you get paid 3 hours.
Okay.
And but if it takes you 6 hours, you still only get 3. At the end, you do tickets. And at the end of the day, all of the tickets that you turned in completed, in an 8-hour window that you work, accumulated 15 hours, you get paid 15 hours that day instead of 8.
That's pretty fucking rad.
That's commission versus, your hourly. How many hours you're on the clock is how much you get paid.
Okay.
So
now who determines what constitutes, like, say a brake job takes an hour or whatever?
Book time. So there's you either have like standardized automotive manuals like Chilton, All Data, Identifix, Pro Data. I think Pro Data is probably not the right one. There's a couple other, and they post times. Or what our shop specifically does, because we're a dealership. The Subaru has a labor time guide, so warranty work we still get paid a commission rate. So warranty, because the manufacturer does so much business then with us, this is their leverage over us.
Okay.
That they will only pay 50 to 40% of what customer pay is, because they're a guaranteed customer.
I see.
Because when you have warranty with the
I see what's
goods
okay,
and service. We perform a service, we have to get paid for it. Either the customer pays us, that's customer pay, or it's covered under the vehicle warranty and the manufacturer pays us.
I got you. Okay, I follow.
So what we do,
I missed the warranty part of that.
Yeah, so what we do is we take Subaru's posted labor time and enter it into a matrix and times it by 1.8. So if Subaru will pay like 1 hour for a front brake replacement. We will charge the customer 1.8 in the matrix. On maintenance items,
the matrix.
Yeah, on maintenance items like brakes, they pay. There's two shops do it two ways. Either they discount the labor rate, or they charge the customer a maintenance labor rate.
Okay.
So under book time, if I do a set of spark plugs, I get paid 2.7 hours. And if a customer comes in and says, "I want my spark plugs replaced on a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated Subaru," on the cars we're most likely to work on, because we don't work on really old ones. Like more than 10 or 15 years old.
You don't work on those?
Yeah, like 10 years old is about the cap at most manufacturers. Subarus actually have a really high... They're really reliable.
Yeah.
So they have
around forever.
One of the highest longevity. Like 80% of Subarus are still on the road.
That's right.
Yeah. So we work on, 15-year, like we're in 2025.
Okay.
I really don't work on many cars older than 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But versus at most other manufacturers, it cut at about 2015.
No kidding. Okay.
It's, a grace period. But we still work on, like, the 2003, 99.
Really? Every now and then you'll get those coming in? Okay, cool. So it's not, you won't turn those away. It's just they typically don't.
Unfortunately, we don't turn those away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't. We can't turn them away because we are the dealership. We can't say, hey, we don't work on... Hey. Yeah. We're a franchise. We're a dealer network.
Sorry, bud. Can't help you.
Now, if there's no parts available, then we can turn them away, because a lot of dealers, we want to use OEM parts only. You don't go to Denny's and bring your own eggs. Why would you come to a dealership and bring your own parts?
These days, you might have to bring your own eggs, because,
that's the running joke. You come to us, you're paying for our service.
Okay.
When you go to a restaurant, you're paying for their service.
That's
for
true.
them to cook your meal.
Yeah.
Or if, you go to a landscaper, you're paying for them to do everything. But at a dealership, we want to sell OEM parts, because we have 3 departments. We have a sales department, a service department, and a parts department. Our parts department makes money only by selling parts.
Right.
And the biggest customer they have is the service department.
Crazy. Weird how that works.
Yeah. And if we sell OEM parts, then we can offer a warranty that when something breaks, like, you have a parts warranty, if you bring in like a wheel bearing you bought from a parts store, they only pay the warranty for the part.
I see. Yeah.
But the manufacturer, you buy our wheel bearing, they'll pay for the part and the labor for us to replace it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because it's all the manufacturer.
Exactly. And mechanical knowledge is decreasing. So there's about 1,000. That's an exaggeration, but on a Subaru, because all of their check engine lights are teed together, so like one code will turn like 6 or 7 on.
Okay.
They're not exaggerating. There's about 600 or 700 different codes that can turn your check engine light on.
That's insane. So many.
So when you have a check engine light and it turns on, and 2 weeks later it comes back on, and we say it's a different code, they don't understand it.
Right. But
so for customer service sake, having warranties, and especially warranties where our service is compensated by the manufacturer, it just makes it much better.
Makes everything, because you still get paid for billable hours and all that, and then the company doesn't lose any money really by. Yeah, I got you.
So super tangent back over working at. I'm making $13 an hour,
As
100% commission, starting at Subaru November of 16.
Cool. As a C-Tech.
As a C-level technician, but I asked for a guarantee of the hours I work, which basically meant if I build less hours than I worked in the pay cycle, I would get paid hourly. So I was still guaranteed
8 hours.
We worked 8.5 hours a day, so I was still guaranteed 42.5 hours every week. But if 85 hours every 2 weeks because it was a 2-week pay cycle. But in 2 weeks, if I turned more than 80 hours, I would get paid, or more than 85 hours, I would get paid more.
I see. Okay, yeah. So you're guaranteed at least 85 hours.
Exactly.
I got you.
Until the business became afloat, and then my guarantee went away.
Okay, yeah. After like 6 months, however long you're there.
Until the Subaru dealership, they actually turned a profit.
Oh.
So they went from not being in the red to being in the black.
Okay.
And it took, they were expecting 5 years, but our store did it in 3.
Okay.
Less than 3 years.
So when they did that, does that mean every mechanic went to
No, it's because I negotiated it in my rate for my employment contract. So when I first start, I go over to the shop. They had just painted the lines on the floor. Like we had to step over like the blue lines in the floor to mark the bays.
Okay.
And the walkways and shit.
I didn't realize the shop was that new.
Exactly. So I've
been there forever.
I meet the senior master. We'll just call him, because I don't want to use his. I'll use names on stuff that is it passed the statute of limitation. On stuff that isn't,
We'll call him Snowflake. All right, Snowflake it is.
Snowflake.
So what's Snowflake?
It's because
what's Snowflake up to?
works because he was an old guy with a white beard and he had a white skullet.
Yeah,
the big old chrome dome.
Yeah, that's Snowflake.
So
sure.
me and old Snowflake, we start working. And I meet him, and he is the funniest shit because he wore the jacket ever since. He had a green army jacket with the cuffs too long, so it was just like the first knuckle sticking out.
All right.
And he's driving like a 2002 Subaru Impreza RS, which is a non-turbo WRX.
Okay.
And it's got like 275,000 miles on it.
That's a lot of miles. Holy shit.
Original motor, original transmission.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy wow. That's incredible. So he's been obviously maintaining that the whole time, I'd imagine. Nice.
We've been working on Subarus since 76.
Yep. This guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Snowflake. Okay.
Started working on cars in 74.
Yeah.
Subaru specifically 76.
Damn.
By 79, he was a senior master for 6 different car lines.
Holy hell.
In his entire lifetime, he was a senior master for 9 different car lines.
Goddamn, Snowflake.
Exactly. And from 2003 until his retirement in 23.
Okay.
He worked on Subaru specifically.
Holy shit. So from 76 to 23 was...
Yep.
Wow.
76 to 23 on Subarus because he maintained his Subaru certification since 76.
Damn.
Since 74, he's been working on cars.
Wow. That is nuts. So a little over...
44 years.
Yeah. A little over 40 years. Is that right? Yeah. Man. That's wild.
Yeah.
So how many years you got under your belt? 8.
Friday of the holiday in May, is that Memorial Day or Labor Day? What's the holiday?
What am I? What are we doing? We're doing riddles.
I'm terrible at remembering holidays.
We're doing riddles now.
Whatever 3-day holiday that you have a Friday off in May, that will be 10 years I've been a professional automotive mechanic.
That's pretty wild. 10 years. I've not.
Foreman,
this dude, for real, that's nuts.
Exactly.
Which is
I bought my first house. I was
24.
I was 22 when I looked for my first house.
Yeah.
23 when I closed on my first house.
Pretty good.
I moved into it in September of 23, and I've never had to ask anybody for a dime.
Hell yeah, that rules.
And I just made $147,000 this year.
And he's years old, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, look,
pretty nuts. He works hard as fuck.
You can make money hand over fist. It's out there to be made. And I didn't want to hustle, so I was going to go diesel electric. I was going to be a mechanic or a diesel mechanic. But then I was working at the Subaru store. I had air conditioning, and I went, fucking air conditioning's nice. I'm making money hand over fist. Like, the first year I worked there, I made every year it was like 40 grand, 54, 68, 74.
You just kept getting raises and kept climbing up.
It was just because I was getting raises, turning more hours.
Probably getting more certifications and shit.
Exactly. And now I'm getting shop foreman money.
Yeah.
So it was like 74.
So you got promoted a couple times?
80, 112, 120, 140.
Pretty damn good.
Exactly.
That's nuts, dude.
It's
That's
out
so
there
good.
to be made, and all you have to do is climb really hard. Go to the fucking training.
And for real, this dude does work hard as shit. Probably as, probably harder than most people.
I don't even work a full 40 hours.
But
I work one Saturday a month.
Yeah.
I make a shit pile of fucking money.
Yeah.
I get to do what I want, and it's great. And
it's pretty good.
I only do it because I'm fucking competent at my job.
Yeah, you are good at it?
Violently competent.
Violently competent.
I could
aggressively competent.
I could probably be a general manager of a dealership with my skills. I don't want to be because I can't deal with customers because you yell at me, you can go yourself.
Absolutely.
How about you shut your mouth and open it again when you're ready to talk at a reasonable level?
When you can talk to a human being again. You think about what you've done. You know what? You don't get.
So I made it but we have high schoolers come in, like as I started as a high schooler, you have to shadow sometimes. And like the second year program we talked about earlier in the program, one of the prerequisites, not only having a job, is you also had to go to like 3 different dealerships and shadow. So basically just watch what a mechanic does for a day. So like you're talking to a mechanic about how he did and what his daily life is.
Way easier.
I just had to watch what he fucking did.
That's also pretty easy, I guess.
So we have those motherfuckers come in and they ask me, they're like, so should I become a mechanic? And I'm like, becoming a mechanic is like smoking cigarettes. I will never in a million years tell anybody to start smoking cigarettes. It's bad for you. The automotive working on cars is fine.
Yeah.
The automotive industry will make you want to gouge your eyes out, do jumping jacks on your testicles, wearing cleats.
Why is that?
Shove a wet noodle up a bobcat's ass in a phone booth.
None of that stuff sounds
exactly.
fun. Yeah.
But working on cars is fine. It's just the automotive industry because you got to bend over, grab your ankles, and get butt with no lube.
Really? Damn, that's rough. Every day?
And the only way you'll figure it out, the reason why all mechanics are assholes is because we're fucking pissed off every single day. Someone pisses something off.
Yeah. It always starts with one person.
Because as a commission employee, I'm looking to bill as many hours as I can.
Yeah, you're trying to do as many jobs in a day as you can.
I look to save seconds. When I rotate tires, I walk around. I didn't start at the right front wheel for funsies. I specifically made a conscious choice that, all right, I start at the right front because that's where I keep my impact. I can keep my impact, use the electric tool I used to start the lug nut, pop that in my back pocket, walk right front, right rear, left right, or left front, take all of them off. That allows me to go to my phone because we have to do video MPIs. I grab my brake gauge, my tire gauge, the company phone to do the video. I do the video MPI, bada bing, bada boom.
What's a MPI?
Multi-point inspection. Like you get like the checkpoint. And they say, we checked your tires, your brakes, your blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Blah.
They do it digital.
Yeah, but now we have to take a video because some motherfuckers went, oh my God. Oh my God! Videos make customers happy. It's fucking dumb monkey brain.
That's what you're talking about, the automotive industry making you want to rip your brains.
And I'm
I get it.
looking to save seconds. So when you ask me to take a video MPI that I will not get financially compensated for doing, that's a hot button item.
That makes sense.
For commission employees is being asked or forced to do something that doesn't require, that you don't get compensated for.
Yeah, it's not like legally required.
It would be similar to an hourly employee, like saying, hey, I need you to help out with the company, but you need to clock out, help us with I do it, and then clock back in. During the middle of your working day.
You wouldn't believe how many bullshit jobs I've had that were asked me to do that. This probably happened actually, I would say 3 to 4 times in my life.
And do you know what I look...
Bullshit.
And do you know what I want to look at them and say? Suck my left nut.
And you should. That's what I'm pretty sure that's what I said. I told him no. I definitely didn't do it.
But the big difference is in the automotive industry.
I definitely didn't do it.
It's either... You do it, or you'll fire it.
Fuck.
Get over it or get a new job.
God damn it. I guess I'm getting a new job. No, I would. But you just have to do it, I guess.
So that's why stuff like that, and until you get in the industry, you'll never know.
Yeah, that would drive me
nuts. It's like smoking cigarettes. I'll never in a million years tell anybody to start smoking cigarettes.
It's a good analogy.
But if you're already smoking cigarettes, you might as well smoke my brand.
Yeah.
I'll sell you on my shop. But if someone's like, I don't know if I want to be a mechanic, stay in fucking school, kid.
That makes sense.
Don't fucking do this shit.
If they're not sure...
Worst decision I've ever made in my entire fucking life is becoming a mechanic.
Okay.
Granted, I could not stay in school, so I would have to do something with my work, and I'm happy with how my life turns out. So
yeah, you seem like a pretty happy guy.
It's
Make
like
good money.
It's like
6-figure salary.
It's like regretting a poker hand that's you didn't win the pot, but you still got half of it.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't bitch too much.
I get that.
But when those high schoolers come in, I'm like, yeah, this sucks. Don't
do
stay
it.
in fucking school.
Save yourself.
Do something else. Become a YouTube star.
Stay as long as you can.
Get a job. Become a productive member of society, but don't be a mechanic.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Something
there you go.
that affords. I became a mechanic because I was lazy, and
Yeah.
it afforded the lifestyle I wanted, I could afford, and it would allow me to retire early.
And you can kind of, not that you can make your own hours, but you can...
I'll make as much money as I want to.
Yes, you can make as money, that's what I'm trying to say. You can make the money that you want to.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And my job's kind of the same way, where if I want to make more money, I got to go out there and sell more shit.
Yeah, I got to upsell, I got to
Yeah.
check over more cars.
Yep.
And
you can make as much money as you want to.
yeah. Well, and another thing I like to say is the world will pay you anything you ask of it. But you got to be careful. You never get anything. You never get everything in this world. So you only get what you want the most.
Yeah.
So
you got to go after is what you're saying?
Yeah, you got to go after it, and you have to understand what's attainable.
Makes sense.
So,
yeah, you got to go after it with be reasonable.
Yeah, well, you know how they say, the higher they climb, the harder they fall.
Sure.
Well, if you got a job you love, a woman you love, coin in your pocket, and a new truck.
Fuck, I don't have any of those.
Yeah, but if you've got all of those things,
yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not going to have it. You're only going to have what you love the most. And unfortunately, what you lose shows you what you have, or what you are, what you want.
True.
So I said, you know what? I might as well stick it out. I'll be able to retire, hopefully at 45. Who knows with geopolitical situations,
who the fuck
politics. But
I'm
planning, even without Social Security, I'll be able to retire. If my goal is 45.
Yeah.
I figure if I shoot for 45, worst case 55.
Which is still young.
Yeah, because fuck this working.
Yeah, dude, working
for the
birds.
65.
It's for the birds. That's why I'm hoping this podcast takes off, so I don't have to actually work anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But unfortunately,
it's not going to. Like I said.
Yeah. Well,
reasonable.
If you practice something, you'll get good at it.
Exactly.
But you'll only have what you want most in this world.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want the fucking podcast, you better be ready to give up some other shit.
Yeah, I should probably start working a little harder at it. But, what are you going to do?
Hey, yeah, young kids, don't become a mechanic.
Don't be a podcaster either.
You can make a lot of money at it.
You can.
It's not a bad gig, but day to day working as a mechanic's really not that hard. I show up I'm the first one there in the mornings.
Yeah. So
open for business 7:30. I'm generally there between 7 and 7:10 in the morning.
Okay.
My job's dog friendly. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Been here on the fucking ground the whole time.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to say that.
Wait. We get some audio.
There you go. What do you got to say, Pete?
Hey, buddy. What you got?
You're on air, bud.
Yeah, he's pretty chill. He don't do much. He sits on the ground.
Yeah. I saw him today. You had he did a sniff test or something at work. I saw that.
Yeah. Customer, funny enough, customer tried to replace their own spark plugs.
Oh.
Fix their own check engine light.
Yeah.
Crack the plugs. Yeah. So then I had to put a plug in.
Yeah.
Or replace the spark plugs properly to fix it. Then I found a wheel bearing was bad. Customer tries to replace the wheel bearing again. And
on his own?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
he couldn't complete the job. And I don't know if you saw, that's why the rear wheel on that car was kicked out.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
It's because the wheel bearing was half installed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I just drove it in anyways because it was okay to move the 50 feet to get it into the bay.
Yeah.
But I'll show up 7:30. I'm the first one there in the morning.
Yeah. So you're talking about you show up at 7:30.
Well, 7:30 is when we're open for business. Show up between 7:05, 7:10 in the morning.
Okay.
Oh, Pete, he gets to play with the basketball running around in the shop.
Pretty good.
Yep. I change up. I crack into my energy drink.
Nice.
Hit my vape.
Yeah?
The
regular, yep.
Shake a turd off the fucking wall.
Yeah, you got
Go
to.
in the bathroom, cut a turd. Then about the next guy below me, he's the second one, shows up in the morning. There's only two of us who are scheduled to start at 7:30. Me and him. Everybody else, they start at 8. They roll in about 8 o'clock or so. Work on a couple tickets. As the shop foreman, I do complex electrical diagnostics. Hey, when shit's backed up, I'm the one who has to deal with unfucking the schedule on cars.
Okay.
So today was pretty easy. We're pretty light. The automotive industry recently has had a pretty significant turn down.
What's that mean?
In shops.
Oh, okay.
You have periodical slowdowns. When you've been working it in a while, starting through the year, the beginning of the year is really slow. Most people have no money from Christmas and the holidays.
Right, yeah.
And then once taxes start coming back, it picks up.
Okay.
Then you get a lull about the spring break time into summer. Either the customers buy nothing or everything, because either they're going on vacation and they want to fix everything,
Yeah.
or they're going on vacation and they don't have the money to fix shit.
Yeah, they'll worry about it when they get back. Yeah.
We'll have a good time, then we'll fix the car.
Yep.
So that slows down, and then it picks back up. It's pretty steady through the summer months. Slows down right before school. Slows down before school. Back to school expenses. Picks back up through October, and then Thanksgiving through December and New Year's. It's just a steady downcline.
Dead. Okay.
But this 24 was an election year. Election years always cause it to slow down.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a divisive election. Depending on, doesn't matter where you sit. Divisive election. A lot of people were concerned. Inflation, money, Dogecoin, this thing, that thing, Tesla, burned down, hate, incompetent, whatever.
There's a lot going on.
Exactly. So
I
a
don't
lot of
understand
people,
any of it.
ever since it pretty much turned down at the school year, start of the school year in September.
Okay.
And it's been super slow, so much that a lot of shops have been firing people because they don't have enough work. Yeah.
I wonder if it's also like the economy kind of sucks right now
Whenever
too.
people are worried, whenever the news says the economy is
Yeah.
shaky, people get a little concerned.
Fair
And
enough.
first thing they do is cut expenses and getting maintenance done on their car, or getting
Yeah.
maintenance done at the dealership, which
Right.
is a more expensive option.
Yes.
Back burner immediately.
First.
Slowing down. We let one mechanic go, but he's fucking up anyways. He deserved to be fired.
Yeah.
But we're the automotive industry staying pretty steady. I know you had the mother boy, Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
He works in the automotive industry, but he's on the
He does.
advisor side.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's kind of in the like customer service side of it.
Yeah,
and
but
you're more on the...
he hasn't been in the auto industry through COVID. So
Yeah.
COVID was a lot of fluctuation, and it seemed pretty steady. But for him, he didn't experience as much. He just saw turn down, and
really?
everyone just said it was the election years, but he didn't see the true fall.
Gotcha. Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was a big fall.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you talking about you're talking about this year in particular, not? Or are you talking about COVID?
From quarter 4 of 24 until now, we're
Yeah.
into quarter 2 of 25. It's starting to turn up.
Really?
Yeah.
On the
So
upswing.
I would turn in a 2-week period. I work 85 hours, and I would turn on average about 175 to 200.
That's pretty good.
That's how much I would build on top of my shop foreman bonus. I get a percentage of every hour that the techs turn.
So you're a shop foreman. So you didn't start as a shop foreman. You started as a C-Tech
I
and worked
started
your way
as
all the way
a
up.
C-Tech under Snowflake.
And you led your way under
Exactly.
Snowflake's
And yeah,
tutelage.
we talked about the guarantee and why I wanted it, but how it really aided me becoming or learning as much as it was is I'm bullshitting with Snowflake, and
Yeah.
we have nothing to do. So like most mechanic shops, you're busy from 8 to sunup, from open to close. You're turning tickets, you're turning hours, cars every single day.
Right.
The only time me and Snowflake would do anything is when we would have PDIs for new cars to show up. So we would sit around for 8 days in a row and turn no hours.
Damn. That sucks.
Exactly.
For 8 days in a row?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
I'm 19 years old.
Yes.
I got a guarantee of my hours. Snowflake didn't ask for a guarantee.
Snowflake?
He didn't ask for a guarantee, and he's a 50-year-old grown-ass man. He's got bills, mortgage.
He's got a
shit
mortgage,
to
probably
fucking
got
pay,
kids, yeah.
Getting ready for retirement, needs to make all the money he can. Oh. He's like, fuck, I should have asked for one. I was like, hey, well, I'm not supposed to be your helper. So what we did to help him out is I basically became his helper.
Oh, okay.
Every ticket, probably for the first 4 months that the dealership was open, he did. And I helped him.
All right, yeah.
So he would do all the work. So so all the money the shop would make, he could make a living.
I see what you're
He
saying.
could afford to make a living because I was on a guarantee.
I got you. So you'd help him cut down on how long jobs would take and help him
Yeah,
get
I would
more
help
billable
him,
hours.
and then he would also show me how to specifically work on Subarus.
Nice.
And just the way it happened, I was there since the beginning. There's actually only, 2 people in the building, and I'm one of the 2 that were the original hires when the place first opened its door.
Damn, I didn't even realize you'd been there that long.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Me and the current service manager
Wow.
are the only 2 new hires originally left.
That's crazy.
The last one left because he passed away.
Well,
Yeah.
that's sad. Sorry.
Yeah, well, when you work in the industry long enough, you'll see a lot of you'll see people die.
Yeah, that'll happen, I guess. You work anywhere, though. I guess that'll...
It's not in cancer.
Yeah. I mean, you've been there for 8 years. I guess you work there long enough. Someone's bound to die.
And then, of course, nobody likes to forget automotive industry, or working in the automotive industry is actually dangerous.
Yeah, the accidents
Don't
happen.
risk your life.
Has anything ever happened to you or
I broke this knuckle.
Yeah.
I just got stitches out of this finger.
That's right. That was recent, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, I can see the scar.
Yeah, stitches are only stitches. Or
Damn.
Or pulled the stitches out like 2 weeks ago.
Fuck.
Fucking swinging a hammer, wasn't paying it, or swinging a hammer that I normally don't with a shorter handle, and accidentally fucking
You misaimed.
no, it caused the back end plate on the brake rotor to hit my finger. It's
fuck.
a piece of sheet metal, so
Yeah.
I almost.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad.
How'd that feel? Pretty good, I bet. Your hands don't look too fucked up yet.
I try really hard not to, and I wear gloves.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. Something I was told when I first started is if you wouldn't put your willy there, don't put your finger there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Funny enough story. I've
put your willy somewhere.
Yeah. I've broken my finger. I broke this finger when I hit it with a hammer, cut this on a brake rotor.
Yeah.
I got my thumb caught by a wrench and pulled all the skin off of it.
Ow, fuck.
I had rust go in my eye. I had to fucking, scratch the cornea. I've had this and that happen. And then, not understanding, like, you got to get new shoes every so often working on concrete. So
True.
I've had, foot pain and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, repetitive motions, that's why I use an electric tool to start lug nuts now instead of all by hand, because it's not carpal tunnel, but you got to work, and another thing, you don't want to use your hands like hammers because arthritis, but I've hit my thumb, I've driven my thumbnail through the bottom of my finger, hitting it with a hammer.
Fuck, that hurts.
Fingernails ripped off, toenails ripped off.
Oof.
Yeah, but the worst thing that ever happened is I closed my penis in the hood of a car.
Hey there.
Yep,
what was that?
I closed my dick in the hood of a car.
That sucks.
I was hungover like a motherfucker.
How the hell did you do that?
I was hungover like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Working on a fucking Jeep Liberty. Or a Commander. I was working at the Dodge dealership. I was so fucked up, I left the party and drove to work and slept in the parking lot in my truck because I knew I wasn't going to make it to work.
Jesus.
So when the service advisors fucking came in, knock, 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 I blocked the gate. Yeah, so I'm fucked up like a football, or probably still drunk from the night before. I'm finishing up this oil change, and I'm leaning up against, the hood's open, and I'm leaning up against the radiator core support, and I didn't realize that my beef had made it on top of the grill. So when I closed the hood, click, oh shit, oh fuck, and the first thing I try to do is I pull it back, but the problem is all the skin wadded up, so now it's stuck. The mushroom tip is stuck in the hole, so I gotta call one of the fucking mechanics over. One of my fucking mechanics, Mike, the one who called me a cum-guzzling dumpster, slept the first day to pop the hood on the fucking car.
Damn it.
Dude.
That's terrifying. That
was the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah, that's horrendous.
That's the worst thing is close my penis.
I know somebody else did another podcast where the guest, one time when he was a kid, you know how kids do dumb shit. One time he slammed his dick in between like the toilet seat and the toilet. And he said that was the most pain he's ever been in. So I can't imagine what slamming a car hood would do. That's incredible. He said he saw stars and shit. He was like,
I was instantly sober.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, that'll sober you up.
Click. I was like, oh fuck, Mike, what? Mike, pop the hood now.
Please.
Why? I'm like, please. Pop the fucking hood. He's like, why? I'm like, you popped this motherfucking hood before I knock your block, bitch.
Yeah.
He's walking over. He's like, I ain't popping that hood. He's yelling. I was like, my fucking cock's in the hood, bitch. Please. He dies laughing. I fucking popped the hood. I swear I bent that motherfucker. Pulling it up off the beef, running to the bathroom, look at it. There's just a purple line.
Oh God,
bruised it. I was like,
I'd be so scared to look.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
it's still there.
Thank God.
There. Oh my God.
But bruised.
Oh yeah, bruised my wiener. But
I'm so glad I've never bruised my penis.
Yeah, that's the worst thing I've ever done.
That's terrifying.
Working on cars and.
That's rough. Well, kids, don't stick your penises in.
Yeah, don't stick your willy in it. You wouldn't put your finger in the hood of a car when you close it. Don't stick your fucking willy there.
Yeah, there you go. That's like our third tip of the day, honestly.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Well,
see you in the AM, pops.
We'll see you in the morning. Well, I won't see you in the morning. He'll see you in the morning. But
drive safe.
Thank you.
I mean, working on cars is fun. We really haven't touched on much of like the day-to-day, what it's like working on cars, how to diagnose them and shit.
Yeah.
I've talked mainly about just bullshitting in my life. But let's get back to it. Let's do some solid. Let's do a more professional tail end of this.
You want to do a professional tail end? All right.
Well, just more professional, like what I do day to day. Like if you wanted to become a mechanic, if you've already smoked, if you decided you're going to smoke cigarettes but haven't taken your first puff, this is what to expect.
This is what to expect. All right.
This is what to expect.
Buckle up, folks.
Yeah. So your first day of training, and I have all my experience at dealerships.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to work on every car under the sun.
Okay.
I wanted to be really good on one car line because you only have to buy one set of tools. one set of specialty tools.
You want to work at a dealership as opposed to like a Midas or like a Goodyear or whatever,
where they work everything under the sun.
Yeah, Midas was just the first one that came to mind.
I didn't want to work at an independent specialty shop because I wanted to. When you work at a dealership, it's generally, especially a new dealership, it's AC. It's a nice facility, nice new. You don't have to work on the old hacked together pieces of shit. It's only new vehicles. Like I said, I mainly only work on cars with under 150,000
and 10-ish years old. Okay, cool.
That's what I wanted to deal with because it's easy work.
Yeah.
So when you start as a mechanic, and I started at the Dodge dealership, you're gonna start there, and you're mainly gonna do PDIs, which is the easiest work to do.
And that's the thing you're talking about with the
delivery inspection.
Got it. Cool.
So when new cars get dropped in or dropped to the dealership for sale, they come covered in plastic, and you have to, easy stuff. Pull the plastic, maybe move some fuses. That's how you start, set tire pressures, and you learn about mainly like what a service advisor does, what's parts, where do we keep the oil filters, and then the next thing you're going to do is, oil changes, and then accessory installs, and then that's how it's going to go. You're going to start doing high volume shit, the easy high volume shit, which is first services like your first oil change, your PDIs, and your accessories. And depending on how quickly you pick that up, they'll generally teach you how to do your standard maintenance. Like, all right, at 6,000 miles or at 12,000 miles on Subarus, you do a cabin filter. On 18,000 miles, you do an alignment. So you learn how to do alignment and filters, and then, change brake fluid and power steering fluid and all the fluids in the vehicle.
So they're teaching you all this within your first year or two?
Within your first
couple months?
30 days.
Oh, all right. So pretty
and at
quick.
a dealer, your first 30 days are pretty hectic because you're learning all of the tech. You got to have, you're going to get like 8 or 9 passwords. You're going to have to set it up. You're going to have to add yourself to the training because you have factory authorized training.
You got to do all the corporate bullshit. Yep.
Yeah, and then there's, at least with Subaru specific, it's not going to be enforced, but how it should go is the first 90 days you're going to have about 100 hours of online training to complete.
Yeah.
But it's really just to teach you about all the Subaru acronyms.
Oh, okay.
It's all the fucking ABC jargon.
Yeah, that's not...
control module, abbreviation, what does a diode look like in a wiring diagram? What does a PNP transistor look like?
Stuff kind of specific to Subaru, but like...
Well, how to read a wiring diagram.
Okay.
What's Subaru's mater interval? What does Subaru call their ADAS system? They call it eyesight. What do we call, ADAS, Advanced Driver Aid, it's like, your pre-collision braking.
Yeah.
Subaru's system is called eyesight.
Okay.
And you just learn, like, Subaru-specific verbiage. What's the model names, like oil, and then you're going to be expected to remember, like, lug nut torque, tire pressures, oil quantity, oil grade.
Know all that stuff off the top of your head.
Yeah, well, you have charts.
I guess they all have the same, like...
All the engines will be, Yeah, and Subaru is a very simple car to work on. They really have like 2 or 3 different engines, 2 or 3 different transmissions, and then they just wrap a different body around.
All right, that's not bad.
And like if you know how to take the interior out of like a 2007 Outback,
I do not.
But like as a mechanic, a 2007 Outback interior disassembly is really close to like even a 10-year newer car. So Subarus are very quick to work on because they don't have much change.
Not a lot of... I follow you. Okay.
So they're even easier to work
like
on.
How lesbians still like them a lot, right?
That's because Subaru was the first one to market
to lesbians.
Brand.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not making fun. I just thought it was.
No, everybody makes fun of it.
Yeah, everybody knows lesbians like Subarus. It's not my fault.
When I was working, if we're solely stereotyping someone based on what they look like.
Ooh, do me.
Straight white male.
Damn, you got me. All right.
Really vague. But, somebody who has a gay pride shirt or tattoos is more likely to be homosexual than someone who is, like a KKK hat. Or,
that's right. Tattoos are gay.
What is it, like the Western church? What is the church that hates everybody? The ones that's always on the news for, like, screaming at people?
Westboro Baptist.
Yeah. That
Shout out Westboro Baptist Church.
So if you're, this is probably not PC, but if you're painting broad strokes, it appears that there's more homosexuals. And it's a well-known, accepted fact that Subaru has a larger customer base of homosexuals.
For sure. That's fine.
Here's a positive stereotype about homosexual males.
Yeah.
And, actually, homosexuals in general. I don't know what it is about liking the same gender, but on average,
Yeah.
they are the best customers you'll ever have.
Well, they're nice. Yeah.
They're nice.
Yeah.
Clean.
Clean.
They're nice. They're clean.
Yeah.
They understand that you're a professional.
They'll probably buy 2 of everything.
And they have a lot of money.
Yeah, they have tons of money.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about
double income,
sucking
sometimes
dick
no
makes
kids.
you financially stable.
Double income, no kids. You know.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they all have so much. They're the best customers ever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if we could make a gay-only dealership, I would work there because they'd have the best customer base in the world.
You'd probably have a lot of good customers there too.
Yeah, dude, I'd be a millionaire.
Customers. Yeah, they would love you.
And yeah. And the Subarus are on the road. Wait, love me all you want, but not in a romantic sense.
That's right. Just give them money and all that. But anyway, well, I was just fucking around about the lesbian thing. But where were we? So we were
working on cars, what you're going to expect on the first couple days.
And you're at like a C-level tech right now, working way up.
I was a helper. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I already knew. I knew a lot. I was in the VOTEC program, so I knew a lot of the basics.
Okay.
If you're going to be a mechanic, a high school VOTEC program really is going to be your best bang for buck. It's going to get you in the door the earliest. It's going to get you started the earliest. And if you go to a dealer and stick with the dealer and get the factory authorized training and you're hungry to learn, like I was when I was under edit that shit. Snowflake. When I was under him and I was learning, he didn't have anything to do, so I was his helper. So whenever a car would come in, I learned the quickest way that a senior mechanic that had been working on Subaru since '74 had seen all the changes, he knew the quickest way.
Yeah, he knows a thing or two.
Exactly. So I just did what he did, and that's how I picked it up so quickly.
Cool.
And I got a pretty smart nose. Like I said, I'm on the north end of smart on the IQ scale.
Pretty smart guy.
So I have a really high intuition, so I just pick it up.
Yeah.
Super easy, turn the hours, got hungry, and I progressed super fast. It only took me 5 years to make it to Master Tech. Most people take about 7 to 10.
That's insane. That's honestly pretty impressive.
Yeah, but once you make it to Master Tech, you're knocking on 6 figures a year.
That's pretty good. So you did that in 5 years, and you're Master Tech. That's really genuinely impressive. That's pretty cool.
So if you're hungry for it,
you can do it.
Yeah. So that's why they say between 5 and 10 years, you're going to be making 6 figures as a dealership mechanic.
That's pretty good.
With factory authorization.
I didn't know mechanics made that kind of money. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, dealership only, but you got to work for it.
Yeah.
Now, there's going to be some mechanics.
My boy's hungry. He worked for it.
There's some mechanics that are only going to make $60,000 a year their whole life because they don't want to work that hard. They want to take it slow and not bill as many hours as they can.
Fair enough, I guess.
But
that's what you're into.
That's the thing where, like you said, in your sales position, as much as you want to sell is as much as you make.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty lazy bastard, unfortunately.
So
it's not that. It's just I don't really, despite me, doing this right now, I don't really like talking to people that much. You know what I mean?
You don't want to waste your words on something you're not interested in.
Yeah, I care about the place I work. It's a good company.
You don't have passion in selling shit.
Right. I don't
have passion about working on cars. I just do it.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I fucking hate working on cars.
I always took you for I thought you liked what you did. Well, I mean, I know you like what you do, but
imagine getting paid all day, every day to work on cars, to then spend money to work on your own shit.
I see. Okay.
So it makes you...
your hobby has become
your hobby.
I see what you're saying.
And
I think that's fair for a lot of hobbies that can be jobs
don't
too.
Don't meet your idols.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of people find that out too. So, but I mean, a lot of people also find out the opposite.
If you're going to be a mechanic, you're going to start... change some oil, put some accessories on, then you're going to get some training. Then you're going to learn about how to do high volume maintenance items like differential services and brake fluid and spark plugs and air filters. Then you're going to learn about common issues like, certain, like on a Subaru, like if you have a P0420 code, that's going to be a check engine light. On a new car, if the trunk's doing crazy things, it probably has a dead battery.
Okay, weird.
You're going to learn about warranty extensions and how to do recalls, because recalls are considered high volume. Like, if there's a recall on, like, I think the last recall I performed was replacing sensors in a passenger seat.
That was the last recall you did?
Yeah, I think that was the last recall I performed on a car.
Weird.
And you're as a young tech, even an hourly tech, you're expected to learn how to do recalls.
Okay. Huh.
And once you learn how to do recalls, you also, there's some recalls you won't do. Like Subaru's had a recall where you had to replace valve springs on an engine. They've had other recalls where you had to replace, well, this wasn't a recall, this was a warranty extension. You had to replace the short block.
Uh-huh.
So another reason why I was able to learn so much and get so much money, and especially from Snowflake, was there was a recall there was a TSB where you got to replace the short block, the engine. So on a Subaru, since it's a flat engine, the cases, the piston, the casing, the crank rods, pistons, because they had a problem with the piston rings.
You want me to order that or not?
Sure. They had a problem with the piston rings, and the cross hatching in the cylinder walls being too shallow, causing a excess amount of oil film on the cylinder walls, which is great for lubrication, but during periods of high engine vacuum, like engine braking, there was so much oil on the cylinder walls, it would actually get sucked past the piston rings and burn through the combustion.
Shit.
But it was only happening during engine braking, and when you're engine braking, your spark plugs aren't firing, and it's not spraying fuel, so it wouldn't smoke. So it looks like you're burning oil, but it never smokes.
Weird.
Yeah, it was a.
I had a truck. I think I had a truck that did that once. I had like a Dodge Ram.
Well, there's multiple ways. Like
I was burning oil and never saw any smoke or nothing. I didn't have any warning.
Leaks in engines are classified as internal or external. Because it can leak on the outside of the engine, or it can leak into the combustion chamber and get blown out of the exhaust. So if it gets leaked into the combustion chamber, like a blown head gasket or worn piston rings causing oil to enter, or the head gasket allowing coolant to enter, it would be considered an internal leak because it's internally leaking in the engine into the combustion chamber and being blown out of the exhaust. And that's where you get your different color smokes.
What the? All right.
Exactly. Like on a gasoline engine, white smoke is coolant.
Yeah.
Bluish haze smoke is going to be oil.
Okay.
Synthetic oil doesn't really smoke unless it's burning a shit ton of it.
Okay.
Like 1 quart, every oil change add a quart. Or every time you get gas, add a quart burning oil for synthetic to smoke.
That was my Dodge, for the record. That was about like that.
Yeah.
I had to add a quart of oil every time I got gas.
Was it a 4.7 V8 Dodge?
No, it was... Might have been, yeah. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was
4.7
probably...
V8.
Then it was probably valve seals.
Ah.
Or valve seals...
Oh, I also cracked the engine block.
Would you put water in it and let it freeze?
No, I don't think so.
Did you get in an accident?
No, I didn't get in it. Maybe I put water in it and it must have frozen.
That's the most common reason for a block crack.
I don't remember, man. It's been a long time. I was in college. But I fucked up. It doesn't work anymore. I know that much.
You like how the instant mechanic comes in?
Yeah, I did. I
Rates
like that.
diagnostics?
Yeah. You knew what was going on.
That's what I do every day.
Yeah.
Because I, as a shop foreman, do mainly high-level diagnostics.
Okay.
Shit work. The work that no mechanic wants. The shit work.
Okay.
Pissed off customers.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're doing the harder jobs, you would say?
Yeah. But an hourly technician, a helper, recalls, oil changes, high-volume stuff. C-level technician, that's where you're expected to do work without oversight.
Oh, okay.
So a C-level tech is a helper that has proved himself competent enough to A, turn enough billable hours to afford to have a decent wage.
Okay. At least 8 a day, I'd imagine.
Over the course of 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because when you
I see. I hear you.
Yeah,
okay.
because over your pay cycle. Because trust me, it's,
Yeah.
you either float or drown. That's what we call it. Drown. If you can't make enough, if you can't turn enough work, you drown. And
that's basically just, you got to be fast when you're...
Yeah, if you build 0 hours in a day and you have no guarantee, you will make $0 that day.
Damn.
If you fuck shit up, if you have comebacks, you won't get paid to do them. So, do it. Spend 10 minutes.
You don't get paid on comeback? Oh, like people come back?
If I something up,
yeah, they don't.
If I fuck something up, I don't get to do it. If an engine blows up because I left a drain plug loose. Yeah. Now at a dealership,
do you get you get paid for fixing it? Like the 1 hour, you don't get paid at all.
If it's a comeback, I'll tell you what happened. This is what a helper is, and this is why helpers always make so little money.
Okay.
I had a helper. He put a thermostat in a car. And after he put the thermostat in, I looked and I said, yeah, you did it right. Just put the hose clamp on. He forgot to put the radiator hose clamp on the thermostat, lower radiator.
Dang it.
So when the customer left, they drove. The radiator blew off, and the engine, and he had no coolant in the engine, and it warped the block and the heads. Now, the dealership...
Is that total the car, pretty much?
No, we have to fix it. Unless we want to buy the car from the customer, we have to pay to fix it.
Damn, that stinks. So, what's that, a new motor? And...
No, luckily, it was salvageable enough that we could just... we disassembled the engine completely, send the heads and the block off. I actually have a funny Snapchat.
Oh, yeah?
About it. Snapchat video that I took where I was venting.
Did you? Yeah, you should send it to me later if you got it.
Yeah. where, and then I had to do all of it. Normally, that job would have paid me 32 hours to complete, and I got paid no money for it. Not to mention the fact that it also hurt me because most mechanics are given one bay.
Yeah.
They have a toolbox, whether they supply it or the company supplies it.
Okay.
And then they have one lift to work out of. I'm given 2.
Ooh.
Because I'm the shop foreman.
Nice.
And we have extra bays in the shop. But I also have a helper. Not the one who blew up the engine, he's gone.
He's long gone.
He's gone.
Actually, was that recent?
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was last year.
Yeah, okay. I remember you telling us that.
Yeah.
At poker night or something.
He fucked that shit up.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
And do you know one of the funny thing about it?
What?
I was on a bachelor trip when I was told
right.
when I was told, hey, this car got towed back in and the radiator hose was blown off.
That sucks. That was not a great weekend.
I was like, you ruined my fucking bachelor trip.
You son of a bitch.
This is literally, I just rode.
Yeah.
I just rode to Maggie Valley, North Carolina. I'm just south of Asheville, North Carolina, in Fairview on a bachelor trip for my homeboy.
Yeah.
We're going to Tail of the Dragon. If you're a biker, you know the name. Mm-hmm. We're also going to Wheels Through Time Museum, one of the best motorcycle museums.
That's cool.
It's Cherokee.
Where was that?
That's Maggie Valley.
Okay.
Dale Walksler's Wheels Through Time Museum.
That's right.
Dude, it's the museum that runs. If you like cars, that is the best museum that has ever existed. We're going on a tangent. Yeah. Maybe you should sell this to Dale Walksler's Wheel Through Time as a plug, as a customer experience.
I'll show him. Dale, what's it called? One more time, shout him out.
Dale Walksler's Wheels Through Time Museum.
All right, there you go.
It's the museum that runs. That's
Hell yeah.
their pitch.
Cool. I'll go check it out. It's
located in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. It was started by Dale Walksler. He's since passed away.
Oh.
It's now run by his son.
Okay.
It's amazing. If you're a gearhead, if you're a biker, its whole thing has vintage American motorcycles. 1900 motherfucking motorcycles.
Damn, that's cool.
One of one experimental hill climb racing 1920s motorcycle.
That's pretty cool. That's wild.
Every complete motorcycle that isn't like up on a display, like if it's on the floor.
Yeah.
If they don't all run, but if they put gas and oil in a battery, they will run.
That's sick.
I
have
so cool. Videos on my phone. Oh, shit, that's going to take so long to... It's the museum that runs. The owner of the museum is doing burnouts.
Oh, I saw that.
In the museum.
Yeah. I remember that.
And it's like all the people who are attending, we split them, and he does burnouts and laps.
That's fucking sick, yes.
And and you want to know where he does the turn? At the $1 million motorcycle.
What happened?
It's no. That's just they have $1 million.
They
have $1 million.
I thought you were saying he hit the $1 million motorcycle or something. I was like, oh fuck.
$1 million antique motorcycles.
Yeah.
That they run and drive.
That's insane.
The original owner, he didn't realize one of his bikes was worth $1 million.
He didn't know.
And weekly, almost daily, he would do those rolling, burning videos on $1 million, like...
He had no idea.
There's like 5 left in the world.
Damn.
The best museum.
That's wild.
I've been there twice.
Have you really?
Yes. The first time I went there, I walked in there. They did the rolling burnouts. I got to talk to Dale Walksler, or Matt Walksler, his son.
Yeah.
Dale Walksler had since passed away. I wanted to go there before he did.
Dale's the senior.
Yeah, father. He started all of it. I don't want to tell this man's story too much, but...
It's all right.
It's just, he knows everything. If you're a gearhead, I mean, he's like the pinnacle of motorcycle knowledge. Like, you walk in, he's like, oh yeah, see that tin stacked under those other tins on that shelf across? Yeah, like that's a 1 year only, because I can tell. But oh, dude, it's crazy.
That's wild.
Oh, dude, he's
some
a motorcycle
people just
builder.
know
I
all
got
that.
to go to the restoration shop.
Yeah.
I saw the 1 year only.
Man,
dude, we talked to the man for like an hour. And while
this is his son you're talking to?
Yeah, his son. And while I'm talking to him, do you want to know who's in the room?
Who?
I can't remember his name. It's unfortunate, but he's in the 200-mile-an-hour club on the Bonneville Salt Flats. He runs a team, and unfortunately, Larry Crap. He has a salt flat, 200-mile-an-hour. David Freiberg, long-term editor-in-chief who owns speed records for Bonneville 200 miles an hour.
Yeah,
he was the driver for for a third-gen Camaro. And yeah, they got like 12 200-plus mile-an-hour salt.
Bonneville on the salt flats or whatever there? Okay.
Oh, wow. Why can I not remember this dude's name? But you want to know something?
What?
While I'm talking to Matt about, and he's talking to me about how they use the piston time or the piston moving up and down. Because when the pistons move up and down in a crankcase, it actually causes the air inside of it moves. And with the air moving attached to the crankshaft that spins, they've got baffle plates cut out in such a pattern that it forces air and oil up into the head and out. So that's how they oil the engine, is by timing baffle and windage plates to force the air movement.
Seems really
the pistons
complicated.
up and down to oil the and this is on like a 1930s knucklehead engine.
That's insane. How can they figure that out? How could they figure that out to build that back?
I'm telling you, you just need to watch all of his videos.
That's crazy. I will.
Watch his videos.
I'll look it up.
Dale, it's the Wheels Through Time Museum YouTube channel.
I'll check it out.
During COVID, they had some of the best videos ever because
Really?
they
I'll go down there and interview him. I'll see if I can get him on the podcast.
But while I'm doing
cool.
it, this dude is sweeping the restoration shop, and the man's got like 12 Bonneville Salt Flat world speed records.
Crazy. He's just in there sweeping the shop.
And he's just sweeping the shop, bullshitting.
Man.
And I'm looking at this man, and I'm going back, and I'm looking, and I recognize
Oh, you
him.
did recognize. I was going to say, where do I know this guy?
I'm looking, I was like, I know him from somewhere.
Yeah.
I know this man because he is like famous somehow. And that's when I finally see he's got a Bonneville shirt. I'm like, I don't mean to be like, I looked at him, I was
Are you
like,
that guy?
I'm sorry to point, I was like, you have multiple Bonneville Salt Flat records, don't you, in a third-gen Camaro driven by the former editor-in-chief of Hot Rod Magazine. He's like, absolutely.
So specific, yeah.
Yes.
That's like the most autistic.
And then sure enough, when I go on the trip, and funny enough, I'm pretty sure just how every person that's been on this so far has been on the Bachelor trip.
Yeah.
John,
Yep.
well, everyone except Allred. John, Eli, B, me,
Yeah.
and then it'll be Danny.
Danny, yeah, I'll
my
get him
brother
on
if
here.
he goes on there.
I'll get him on here one day.
And then Trent if he ever shows up.
Yeah, he did ask to be on here too. So
everyone from the Bachelor trip.
yeah, I gotta get Trent on here
Ask
too.
him about the Bachelor. Ask him about gravel on the Bachelor trip.
Ask him about
the
gravel.
driveway.
Okay.
Hey,
oh
look,
right,
look,
and Trent.
the driveway was not strong enough.
Sure, for sure.
Anyway,
I hear you.
but we go back there again, and sure enough, we see Matt, and he brings us back into the restoration shop, and we got to see an early year. So if you go on, you go on if you go on the Wheels Through Time website, I'm gonna pull it up now.
Matt Waxler, you said?
Yeah, the Wheels Through Time, their raffle bike. Me and all them boys from the Bachelor trip got to see it before it was even released to the public.
That's sick. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, dude, it's the best museum ever.
Yeah.
If you must see in your lifetime. If you like museums
I do.
about American history and especially like automotive or motorcycle history, dude, it's amazing.
All right, yeah, I'll check that out for sure. I think Eli's got a good video of him doing that burnout too. So
yeah,
if you send it to me or if someone sends it to me, I'll put it on
the ones I have burnouts from. After we get off this, I'll have to search through.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's no worries. But
dude, it's a great thing. But
yeah, it's pretty.
Back
cool.
to tangent over. C-level techs are technicians that are helpers that can do shit without
on their own.
Without
no supervision.
help. Without supervision. C-level techs, they can do diagnostics. Like a C-level tech, like you got a P0420, 171, PA3, P26A3, P26A4, P2763, 2764, P0906, P606.
I gotta ask, what are all these numbers?
All those are common. All of those are codes that they have it's a known issue to cause it. Okay. So I was just rattling them off on all the known ones.
Those are like the check engine light codes. Okay, those are the ones they gotta know.
Those are when you have a check engine light. There's going to be a check engine light means there's a DTC, a diagnostic trouble code, thrown in the engine control system, ECM.
Okay.
It's a sensor or something about the engine or the emissions is not operating properly.
Something ain't right.
Well, actually, it specifically means that something on the engine is operating in a way that it affects how much emissions the engine is producing or could produce.
Okay.
Because it's all about EPA. That's why this exists.
That's what the check engine light's for?
That's why that is what the EPA mandated, or because EPA restrictions on emissions control mandated that cars, to maintain the emissions regulations, they had to go to electronic ignition.
Okay.
But when you have that, it has to have a way to diagnose itself. And it was like chicken, egg, chicken.
I see. Okay,
egg,
I got you.
egg, chicken situation.
Yeah.
So whether it was government regulation or just manufacturer and then government standardization, like that's what OBD2 is. Like OBD1, onboard diagnostics, Gen 1, it was manufacturer specific. So like the diagnostic software, like how the ones and zeros work, and like what codes mean what. That was in OBD1. That was left up to the manufacturer. And
Okay.
then the government came up with OBD2, and it was standardized.
And
That's
then-
why the plug and the 101 software and like P0420,
It's all universal.
it means if you have that in an Audi or a Subaru or a Dodge or a whatever,
All right.
it all means the exact same thing. Catalytic.
Wow.
Bank 1 catalytic converter.
Well, I'll be damned.
Efficiency below threshold.
Okay. I'll be damned. It sounds like the government actually did something right for once. Maybe. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Sounds like a good thing, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean, are you talking about like geopolitical, like
Oh,
global warming?
I just mean typically whenever the government gets involved in anything, they fuck it up beyond belief. But it seems like this one instance they made it a little better, right? I don't know how you feel, but I don't like the government.
Well, it all stems from the Right to Repair Act.
All right. Well, hold on one second. Could you mind if I pee again before?
Shit.
All right. Cool. Yo, we're back. Sorry, I had to pee again. So we were talking about the government, I think.
We're back. You asked me if I thought how the government did on onboard diagnostics and
That's
whether or
right.
not they fucked it up.
Standardizing and everything.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. Did you like it? Was it good or bad?
When it first came out, it was very good,
Mm.
but they haven't updated. They haven't kept up with the times.
Okay.
So
When they do, how long ago was this? Like,
1997 is when it was
Okay.
required legally. A lot of vehicles had them by 96, but 97 is when it was legally required.
gotcha. Okay.
So when it came out, it was very good. Unfortunately, they haven't kept up with the times. So they even mandated like the kilobits per second on how fast they communicate to each other.
Wow.
Because it talks in zeros, and
Yeah.
OBD2 also standardizes how all the control modules talk to your car, like how your ECM and how your engine control module and your transmission control module and your body control module and your headlight control and your power windows and
Yeah.
center differential and ABS control, how they can all talk to each other. They even standardize how they do it and how fast they can do it. They
Okay.
talk on it. They create ones and zeros, but they use a diverging voltage graph. So that's why you have like
Oh,
can high, can low.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So can is communication network.
Can is communication?
Yeah. So that's what
Seems like it should be com.
No. No.
Okay.
That's what they call it.
All right.
It's can.
Hey, what do I know?
Well, it's just can isn't what came out.
Mm.
You started with Lin, and then Lin, bus, can, star, and local, and then it all just became can. It's way too much jargon for I think what this is. Right?
Yep, I didn't get any of that. So that's all right.
Yeah, so the OBD2, all the control modules, the
Yeah.
same thing. All computers talk on ones and zeros.
Okay.
So what they do it is by creating a voltage graph. So you have the voltage graph. One goes down, one goes up.
Right.
And when they come back together, so when they go apart, that's a 0, and when they come together, it's a 1, and
okay.
that's how they transmit the ones and zeros. Yeah, and then of
I
course,
didn't know that.
yeah, well that's how computers digital
Crazy.
digits, zeros and ones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they talk.
Weird.
Ones and zeros, but they even standardize like how many like times per second. So how many
can
kilobits
do
per
that.
second, like the data transmission speed.
Yeah, I didn't know they were talking kilobits in 1997. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Megabits.
Yeah, who knew?
But unfortunately, modern electronics talk way faster, but
Yeah.
the government hasn't updated it. So of course, hindsight being 2020, there's a better way to do it now.
I see.
But humans have reductive reasoning. So
Right.
we need to see two options to choose the better one.
I hear
We
you.
can't just make the best one.
I hear you. So they made something
They
30 years ago and haven't really updated it. and they
Yeah,
need
so
to.
now-
It was a good idea 30 years ago.
Now
They need to-
instead of having one CAN system,
Mm.
because one isn't fast enough for all the control modules to talk, they'll have nine. They'll have
Holy
9 of those
Shit. Okay.
that are all going on together, and they have one control module in the middle that deals with it, and then it talks to the OBD2.
Okay.
But each individual unit only does at the way too slow kilobits per second that the government says it can on OBD2.
Yeah.
It's just doing all of it, but when you add like 9 of them together, that's how you get enough speed.
Okay, I hear you. Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So OBD2 is pretty cool, but on your standard OBD2 codes, VTech, he can do the ones that wouldn't be a standard code that you haven't seen before. Like
Okay.
if you have if you have a code that, hey, I've never seen, a I mean, enter a P2764 before on this car before. Now I have to go into the service manual, and the service manual will give you an idea of like, this is what it's supposed to do. These are the values it's supposed to see. Here's like, if you were to check this, check that. If no, so you have a trouble tree.
Okay.
And a B-Tech is able to navigate the diagnostic software and website all on their own and be able to diagnose the car correctly.
Gotcha. They can do a little extra research and figure stuff out.
Yeah, where, the 90% of the time case car. Mm-hmm. And then where your senior master is, they're the 1 in 100 cars where it's not...
The real weird shit.
The one... Oh, I'm trying to think of a really weird one.
Like complicated.
Yeah, but sometimes like the really weird ones I don't want to give away. So like a B-level tech, they can diagnose codes or like weird issues. Like when I go like rattles, interior rattles are pretty hard, or like suspension pops can be difficult.
Yeah.
They can do all of, your diagnostics. But that's how mechanics are rated, is really like check engine light diagnostics or codes or like weird concerns. Like when I turn my wiper blade, when I turn the steering wheel, the right turn signal turns on.
Strange.
Like, B-level techs can do the ones where those are simple issues.
Yeah.
But like an A-level technician, what I am, like I'll tell you an example of a car that as a B-level tech, how I struggled with it, and how an A-level technician I've dealt with similar issues and found them immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had a 2016 Subaru WRX. It was modified. It failed state inspection because some emissions control devices like the catalytic converter, the EGR valve, the tumble generating valves had been removed. Exactly, and then it had been tuned to support the aftermarket modification.
Yeah.
So it was a used car, so we purchased it from a customer, and then we were going to refurbish it to resell as a But we had to then make it past state inspection because that's a requirement by law for dealers.
Yeah.
Is they have to perform it.
Okay.
They just have to perform a state inspection, but no dealership is selling a car with a rejection sticker on
right.
it.
So it's got to pass, ideally.
For us to sell it, it will pass.
Ideally, it'll pass. Okay.
So what happened was, after I did it, I had a P0171, and that code means Bank 1 System 2 Lean.
Which everyone knows what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
So what that means is, you have, how engines have banks.
Okay.
And depending on how many individual monitored, how many bank you have, depending on your engine, you can have, depends on how many banks you have. You can have 1 bank, 2 banks, 3 banks.
Depending on the engine.
4 banks,
size,
exactly. And it also depends on variants. Like a V8 has 2 banks.
Okay.
Some inline 4 cylinders have 2 banks.
Oh, shit.
Some inline 4 cylinders have 1. It depends on exhaust routing.
Okay. Most V6s have one,
specifically, you have catalytic converters.
Okay.
And a catalytic converter is a component mounted in the exhaust. And before the catalytic converter, you have an O2 sensor, and after you have an O2 sensor.
Okay.
However many one of those you have is how many banks you have. So on
The O2
Subarus, it has 1 bank. So 4 cylinders combine into 1, and it has the 1 component of the cat and the 2 O2 sensors.
Okay.
And by those, when you're diagnosing something, you can determine what cylinders are causing that code, because that code means Bank 1, which on a Subaru means it could become Bank 1, so the entire engine is running too lean.
Okay.
So all the air that's what most people think is you have not enough fuels being sprayed, but what it actually really complicated is you have too many air molecules in the engine.
Okay.
So you had incomplete combustion.
What the? Okay.
So when your bank is running too lean, either you had a misfire, so either unmetered air, because the engine has to measure exactly how much air comes in to know how much fuel to spray. So the amount of air it thinks is getting is wrong.
Okay. And that's what was going on with the Subaru?
Exactly.
Okay.
And what it turned out to be, and it took me several months actually to figure it out.
What? Did you have the car the whole time? Oh, well, it was, never mind. I thought it was someone
came
you
and
were.
went.
Yeah.
It came and went several times.
Okay.
And then we had to go back and forth with a tuner.
Okay.
Well, your engine measures how it needs to know how much air is entering your engine, so it knows how much fuel to spray, so it can spray the correct amount, so it has proper combustion to meet fuel economy emission standards, and the engine doesn't misfire.
Okay.
So you have two types of way that you can measure that. You have something called speed density, and then you have mass airflow.
Okay.
Speed density takes air density by pressure and temperature to measure to know how many air molecules are entering the engine, to know how much to spray. And mass airflow physically measures how the volume of air, and how it does is it heats a piece of it has a heating element, and it measures the temperature of it, and it knows based on airspeed. That's what it does.
Okay.
When that first came out, it used to measure the entire air that passed through it. On modern ones, it only measures 10% and then extrapolates based on flow rate of the pipe how much air is in it.
It's okay.
And because this car had a cold air intake, the cold air intake had a larger diameter, so that because it was a larger diameter, the incorrect volume of calculated air was being entered into the values when it was calculated.
Yeah.
So it thought it had more air.
Okay.
So it was spraying more fuel.
What the heck?
But since it had too much air, the car went, "Whoa, I'm not running right."
Yeah, what are we
and
doing
it threw
here?
a code.
Okay.
And it took me months to figure it out.
Okay. Well, how did you fix it? Like, what'd you do to? How do you do you have to go in and program it or something? Or?
I checked literally everything I possibly could and sat there and scratched my head. And went,
Yep.
What that code actually means is too many air molecules. The mixture of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the exhaust is wrong. It has too much oxygen in the exhaust.
Okay.
So what could cause that? Well, if you have an air leak, because your intake is under vacuum. So your intake manifold is completely sealed. So if one of the seals go bad, it'll suck air in, and that allows unmeasured, or we call unmetered air to enter. And because that unmetered air enters in and it passes through, it ends up in the exhaust and it'll throw the code.
I see. Okay.
Now, if you have a misfire, the spark plug doesn't go off. It doesn't burn the oxygen and fuel mixture to produce carbon dioxide. That's one thing that can cause it to be too lean.
Okay.
Or it could be unmeasured air. But what it actually was is the tune was wrong.
What? Oh, they hadn't tuned it. Yeah, they hadn't tuned it right.
They tuned it incorrectly.
Okay. Whoever sold the car to
No, we had paid.
Ooh.
The car didn't pass state. We made it past state inspection, and that required it getting retuned.
I see.
And the tuner didn't tune it right. But there's no way because we don't have the diagnostic or the tuning software.
Yeah.
So there's no way to check what they did. We can only see the symptoms of their poor tunes in check engine lights.
I see. That seems like a pain.
Yeah, like most OEM manufacturers spend about 2,000 hours making the tune.
Damn.
2,000 hours of engine on dyno running.
That's pretty intense.
Exactly.
That's nuts.
So that's how much, if you think that's how much it takes for a OEM manufacturer to make a tune, make a car run perfectly well in all 50 states.
Yeah.
When you pay some guy to tune your car on a dyno for 2 hours.
He's not going to do the best.
Exactly. That's why tuned Subarus blow up all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Because Subarus are a little more fragile.
Really?
They're incredibly reliable.
And they're easy to work on, too, right? Okay.
As long as they're stock. They're incredibly reliable. Because they're a little bit delicate. In factory trim on a factory tune, those things are little tractors that'll go 100,000 miles down the road with blown head gaskets.
Damn.
But once you start modifying them,
that's when they start fucking
the tune just is so detrimental to the engine.
Yeah.
It doesn't handle it. Versus like Hondas and Chevrolets, their engines are more robust to the effects of a shitty tune.
Interesting. They can handle it a little better.
And that's why they go 100,000 miles.
I see. Huh.
Subarus are meant to be stock. Ones, even their STIs, you know how STIs blow up? I've worked on STIs with 300,000 miles that had stock head gaskets, but the customers left it completely stocked and did their routine maintenance.
And it was good to go.
Yeah, they don't...
I've always been told that when you start doing like aftermarket parts and shit on cars, that's when you start having problems. Typically,
yeah. When a team of 200 people spend 2 years and $300 million designing a car,
they've got it figured out pretty good, I guess.
Some guys in a garage go, if I cut that filter out, it makes it go. I get 100 more horsepower and black smoke comes out the tailpipe.
Hey, Tyler, I got an idea. Why don't we put 2 washers in between your exhaust?
Oh, my fuck.
Fucking idiot.
Holy shit.
Anyway, I need to get that fixed still. All I need to do is just put it up on a lift and remove them. But
that?
yeah, that's all I got to do.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
So
anyway.
that is something when I was a B-level technician.
Yeah.
With about 3 years.
That's staying in. That was gold, by the way.
With about 3 years on the job. That kicked my ass for about 3.5 months.
What's that?
That car that I just told you about.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody thinks that it's
3.5 months?
Yeah, 3.5 months it took me to figure it out. Because I'm going back and forth. Because everybody's assuming the tune is correct. Mm-hmm. Nobody's questioning that because we're stock. Yeah. We don't mess with modified cars. We live in La La Land.
Right.
Where either the ECM works or it doesn't.
Right. So you never really thought to check maybe it was the tuning.
No, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going back and forth. So what we're trying to do is find faulty engine readings, but you're never going to find faulty engine readings.
Right.
You're never going to find anything in the trouble tree or the diagnostic software or any of the PIDs, which is like when you go into the scan tool and it tells you what the exact coolant temp or what the exact ignition timing or primary pulley percentage or duty cycle up ratio is. Like you're going to see the values are wrong, but they're never going to lead you to what is making them wrong.
I see. It won't tell you what the problem. Like it won't tell you why it's wrong. It's just going to tell you this is going on.
Yeah.
So, I got you.
And that is something as a B-level technician that'll kick your ass for months. But as an A-level technician, I'm trying to think of one that really stumped my ass as an A-level technician.
Do you find
Well, so here's something that would normally stump a B-level technician on his ass for quite a while.
Okay.
That I figured with a blink of an eye.
Okay, sweet.
They changed the mounting for the eyesight camera, which is part of the modern cars, they frontal
ADS,
collision,
right?
ADAS.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the industry calls the system, but I don't know what that acronym is. It's like advanced ADV.
Automatic.
It's advanced vehicle driver aids.
Yeah,
I think is what it stands for.
Okay.
Subaru they named that system eyesight, so I know it as eyesight and all the verbs and acronyms for the eyesight.
Yeah.
So they changed it from mounting on the roof panel to mounting on the windshield. So when the windshield is replaced, if the glass guy doesn't do a good job of installing it properly, you can't recalibrate it.
Yeah, dang it.
Yeah, because we have to look at...
That's every time they get a new windshield?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, yeah, every time you get a new windshield or if you change your suspension, you have to get it.
Okay.
You have to get it recalibrated. Because if you don't get it recalibrated... then the automatic braking might not function properly, and it could lead to an accident.
Safety thing. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Seems the feature won't work properly when you need it to if you don't recalibrate it.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
So that's something that I figured out relatively easily.
Okay. But it would have taken a B-level guy to a couple...
Could have taken a B-level tech a really long time. I have another car in the shop. Well, actually, I didn't even think about it because in my brain, it wasn't even that hard to figure out.
Yeah.
And it turns out that one of my mechanics, he spent like 6 hours working on it. And I'm pretty sure I told him what it was like after 20 minutes into my first time over.
He was probably kicking himself.
I think I helped him like a total. Because as a shop foreman, as well as being the senior master, I'm also expected to increase productivity. And the best way for me to do that is to aid my technicians in their work. So if I see a mechanic struggling to do something, maybe I give him a hand or an idea.
Yeah.
Or, I just lend a helping hand wherever I can or, a different perspective to help them figure it out.
Do you ever get like 2 guys working on one car at the same time? Like, will you assign 2 techs to one ticket?
No.
That'll never happen.
No.
Okay.
The only time that happens is in a scenario where you have a tech and an apprentice.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Like, I have an apprentice, so all the tickets I get are technically dispatched to me and my helper.
I see. Okay. But you'll, as the Oh, I'm sure. So I'm sorry. What do you call it? The lead
Shop foreman.
Shop foreman. Yes, I couldn't remember that for some reason. As the shop foreman, though, you said you go around and like just kind of help other people whenever you see like a dude struggling, trying to couldn't figure something out,
like
or
whenever we have an issue. Hey, this special tool doesn't work. Hey, what's going on with this recall? Hey, I don't understand what this means.
Okay.
Hey, I can't figure out what's going on.
So they'll come to you with questions and stuff
yeah,
every now
all
and
day,
then.
every day.
Okay. All right. Shit.
Fucking 20, 30 times a day, I'm answering questions.
Who's the most? Are you the most tenured dude there still, or now? Are you? Sorry, let me ask that again because it wasn't clear. Are you the most tenured dude there now? There we go.
Tenured, yes. Age, no.
No.
Working on Subarus at a dealership, yes. Working on Subarus, no.
Okay, I got you. All right, cool.
So,
nice, man. Well, that's what you do.
that's what I do.
That's what you do.
But he did. What was happening is
Yeah.
he was replacing a sunroof.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, we're talking about the ADS, not the ADS.
ADAS.
Eyesight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was something that I figured out relatively easily that one of another technician I had, he had problems with. But I remembered another thing.
Right.
That
Okay.
I figured out.
Then I cut you off. Sorry.
Someone was doing a sunroof frame.
Okay.
One of our techs was replacing a sunroof frame. And it needed the whole frame, sliders, the whole 9, motor and all.
Yeah.
And after you put it back together, you have to initialize its position. It's because the motor counts its rotation, so it knows whether it's open and closed, so your automatic close features work.
Okay.
But it wouldn't initialize no matter what you did. We're good.
Oh,
There was a reflection of the candle.
I saw that earlier. I thought someone was pulling up too. I see one over there. Also, it keeps getting me.
Yeah.
But-
So, you have to initialize it, and it takes a feature, and you open it, you tilt it all the way open, and then you hold the open button for 3 minutes, and then it'll automatically go through its cycles, and then it knows its step count.
Okay.
And it wouldn't work. And I'm like, hey, will the motor learn its step count? He's like, no. I'm like, what code do you have? No data control. And I was like, you got powers and grounds? Yeah. I said, you put the old motor in? He said, yeah. Like, does it program? No. It's like, do you have the same code? It has a code saying the sunroof motor, because it's actually a control module that talks on one of the CAN.
All right. Yeah.
Talks on
it's
one
one
of the
them.
9 CAN circuits in the car.
All right. Or it all comes back around.
Yep.
Yep.
Talks on one of the 9. It's saying it can't talk on the CAN.
Okay.
None of the other control modules are saying it can't talk, though.
Right.
So the control module's telling on itself, saying I'm bad, and nobody else is saying I'm bad.
I see.
And you put the old one back in, which doesn't operate properly, but it doesn't throw a code. It's not throwing it. I was like, and it won't program, and the rockers, and you have good switch continuity. Yeah, I was like, it's probably a motor. And I told him that like after the first time I picked his brain.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes in.
You're on it.
And then he checked a couple more things, and I was like, all right, let's check around something stupid. Because sometimes, like the service manual just told you, like I said, press a button, release it, set it in a certain position, release the button, and then hold it for up to 3 minutes while it goes through its process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something it might not tell you is like, you got to make sure like the battery voltage isn't too low. Got to make sure all the windows and doors. Sometimes they have to be closed.
Right.
Sometimes they have to be in the position they were when you opened it. So like if you had the trunk open when you unplugged it,
Yeah.
now you've got it closed. It might not program.
Okay.
Because everything talks to each other, so all the checks have to align for the initialization.
So
procedure.
finicky. So many things have to like work together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything has to align all at once.
So something like that, it didn't stump me, but it stumped him, and I was confident in my ability.
Yeah.
That's another thing that a senior master has. He has confidence in his diagnostics ability.
Confidence.
Well, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, that's right. I like that.
Funny enough, Brandon,
Yeah.
he had an Audi, and he kept on having misfire codes.
Okay.
And we had already replaced everything in the ignition system. It should be running completely perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And one of our buddies, who was way less mechanically inclined, he just said, maybe a part was bad out of the box. And me and Brandon, we're ohming wires and measuring waveforms on watching, we're measuring voltages and graphing it down to, a millionth of a second to watch shit going, no, it should be fine. And it was keep it simple. And he was like, well, maybe the part could be bad out of the box. And we're like, sure, fucking enough it could be.
God damn it. Yeah, I guess it could be.
Or,
It happened to me one time. Yeah. I'm not mechanically inclined at all, but I was with some buddies down going to Virginia Beach, and we broke down in the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel. I
Or
think
no,
it was the Bay Bridge tunnel.
is it when it blew the boost pipe
Yeah,
off?
yeah. And they had the hood up and they were looking at it. And I don't know shit about cars. They were looking at it and they couldn't figure it out. And I swear we were there for like 20 minutes probably. And I saunter over and I take a look at it. And I'm like, is that pipe supposed to be connected to something? And they were like, yeah, it is. That's our problem right there. And I was like, yep. So immediately, all it took me was 2 seconds to look at it, and
Yeah.
that was it. So keep it simple, stupid. Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is another set of eyes. That's another thing. I think somebody I was talking with on the show previously, that was another thing. Get another, take a step back. Get somebody to take a look at it.
Well,
It can help out. But
and another thing, I don't know if it's like super high level senior master thing. One of my buddies, two of my buddies, they're cousins, and they were having a bitch of a time trying to figure out why the Camaro couldn't start, and they were fucking around with it for like 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then their sister walks out and literally says, "Did you check to see if it's got gas?"
yeah.
Well, the gauge says it's got a quarter tank.
Son of a bitch.
Well, maybe the gauge could be wrong. Sure enough,
That'll happen.
it was out of fucking gas.
Yep, that'll happen. That's very funny.
Yeah, so,
Sometimes
sometimes it's like diagnostic ability.
Yeah.
But you do have, this is definitely, some A-level tech shit.
Mm.
So, first time my Subaru just came out with an electronic thermostat.
Ooh.
And, of course, it
Fancy.
wasn't very good.
Yeah.
They're causing issues. Not a parts replacement.
That'll happen.
So, one of the technicians replaces one. And after he replaces it, he comes over to me. He's like, "What's wrong with it?" I'm like, "What's wrong with it?" He's like, so I put the thermo control valve, the electronic thermostat in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And now I turn the key on, it all wakes up. When I try to start the car, it goes click and everything dies.
Oh, no.
And then when I release the key, it all comes back. And it's got no codes whatsoever.
That's... What?
I was like, what?
What happened?
And I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and this engine is completely assembled.
Okay.
And I just happened to glance down at the engine. And I'm like, wow, it sounds like an electrical issue. And I look through the engine cover, between the intake, the throttle body, and the intake ducts, all the way down into the guts of the engine.
Guts.
And I see a bolt. It's got about a 1/16 of an inch gap underneath of it.
Damn it.
And I went, that's EG1 bolt. So that's the name, engine ground number 1.
Ah.
EG1. That supplies ground.
Number 1. Pretty important.
Yeah, well, there's EG1 and 2.
Okay.
EG1 supplies ground to the ECM and all the engine sensors.
Aha.
Pretty much everything that makes the engine vroom vroom, it supplies ground to.
It's all to that. Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And if you have a ground issue, the control module just thinks it's turning on and off. It doesn't think there's a fault.
Just constantly turning on and
Yeah,
off.
it just thinks it's turning on and off, so it doesn't even cause an issue.
So
that's like A-level tech shit.
Okay.
So
Huh.
that's where you want to go to.
Pretty complicated. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. So, well,
It's been quite a while.
it has been. We're coming up on 2 hours, 40 minutes, bud. You want to cut it off? Or?
Yeah, I do want to aggregate
Yeah.
maybe a 2-minute
You
talked
want,
about during the first piss.
you want to do a wrap up for everybody? It's kind of what we're...
Yeah, well, remember how you talked...
A review?
Yeah, a review. I really don't... You talked about how we touched on, like high school, car, or, what made me do it. Mm-hmm. So I just, why I did what I did, what I chose to do.
Hell yeah.
I want to give you, I want to give you an outro.
Nice summary. Yeah, I like that.
Or you could make it an intro. You could just excerpt it wherever.
I could do that. Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I've given up. I just won't say my name.
Yeah, that's
Not
fine.
my company, but... So yeah, I went to high school in the state of Virginia at Byrd with quite a few other people that have been on the show. Mm-hmm. But my name is redacted.
Yeah, his name is redacted. Yeah.
Yeah. So I initially decided thought I wanted to be an engineer of some form, and an architectural engineer seemed really interesting. Mm-hmm. But then I decided working as an engineer was mainly sitting behind desks and doing numbers, and I wanted to work with my hands. So after 2 years of the engineering program, I dropped it for automotive technology.
Cool.
So I did the year 1 program, scored high marks, learned a lot. My brother had actually done the program 3 years prior.
The engineering?
No, well, he actually did the engineering, dropped the engineering, and then became a mechanic, but he went to heavy-duty diesel.
Another one of my friends I didn't know was in the engineering program. Cool.
Yeah.
Continue. Yet another one. All right.
We while his first job, instead of having, it was an independent diesel repair shop.
Yeah.
Instead of offering factory authorized training, they had automotive ASE style automotive seminars that anybody could come to. So I've been going to those.
Okay, nice.
And I knew being an engineer, you can make hundreds of $1,000s a year.
Sure.
I still wanted to have a pretty comfortable lifestyle where I could, afford to go on vacations and have money in the bank and a new truck and, a couple of toys, hobbies, and even if they're expensive.
Yeah. A house. Did you mention a house? Bought a house.
Yeah, I bought a house. So I was like, well, dealership level mechanics can make $100,000 a year, and if they work really hard, they can make 200 or 150.
Yeah.
And if they work really hard, and if they're in an expensive market like New York City or Los Angeles or Dallas, you make 200,000
for sure.
But the living cost doesn't.
Yeah.
Eats up the extra money you make.
Hey, that makes it. Can I pause here? That's a good question. Do you know if you were to go as a Subaru, tech right now, you make good money, but if you were to go to I don't know, what's a luxury brand? Mercedes. If you were BMW, Mercedes Benz. If you were to go to one of them, do you think you'd make more money? Being at your level now, or?
I'd make a higher rate, but I don't want to work on them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard they're a pain in the ass. German cars are a pain in the ass to work on, right?
Mm-hmm. They're really complicated. They're needlessly.
And their parts are expensive too, right? Or hard to get or something.
As a mechanic.
Yeah, you don't care.
Less.
Yeah.
Care less about it.
Yeah. But,
so,
okay.
After deciding becoming an engineer wasn't my move, I didn't want to sit behind a computer all day.
Don't
I
blame
decided
you.
to become a mechanic. I'd already known about mechanics, being a mechanic.
I am a mechanic.
Well, my brother was a mechanic. I had a couple buddies in high school who their dads were mechanics. I'd always liked cars growing up. Working with my hands, watching how things moved.
Working with your dad on stuff.
Yeah, So I was like, I could be a mechanic. I'd make 100. I could probably be really good at it, make 150.
Yeah.
Within 10 years of being a mechanic. And sure enough, like we said earlier, I did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You killed it.
So after the first year program in 11th grade, there was a couple prerequisites like shadowing mechanics, getting a job, scoring high enough on the year-end test. I got into the advanced program the second year, which allowed me, instead of going to class on Thursday or Friday, because it was an alternating schedule, I could go to work. So I went to work, started as a helper at a Dodge dealership, had a blast, learned some shit, learned how it worked. I learned how to work on cars, what to expect, got a little bit of knowledge, dealership ways. Decided to leave that place.
After about 18 months.
After 18 months, because they didn't want to pay me enough, and I had some altercations with coworkers. Landed at the Subaru store, worked with Snowflake for...
Shout out Snowflake.
He's still kicking. I saw him a couple weeks ago. He still brings the Subaru in, and he makes me do the oil changes.
Nice. He's retired now, right?
Yeah, he's retired. He still comes in, plays
right on.
golf.
Cool.
Solid guy. Yeah, I even got to help him replace the motor. He had the motor and transmission rebuilt in his '69 Pontiac GTO.
Oh,
did that
nice.
at the Subaru shop too.
Hell yeah!
That was actually
you helped him out with that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
A condition of him being hired is they had to let him do his motor and transmission rebuild.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you? Are you allowed to use the shop for your own personal?
Yeah,
nice.
I've actually one of my trucks is at the shop. My 2012 Ram.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it had blown head gaskets, so I just got the heads back from the machine shop.
Damn.
Yep. So I got to get those put back on and putting it up for sale.
Yeah,
but I'm working at Subaru, working with Snowflake. We were really slow in the beginning, so I got to work directly with him, soak up a lot of knowledge. We had pretty steady growth. I was able to keep up with it. I was able to pick up the brand pretty quick, and especially with the help of Snowflake.
Shout out Snowflake.
Shout out Snowflake. Oh, big chrome dome, Big Daddy Snowflake. I learned a lot with him.
Yeah.
And he pretty much trained me up to be the shop foreman. So when he retired at the end of 23, I was 26 years old. I became shop foreman of a shop. And at the end of 23, I was the shop foreman, and we turned oh crap. Was it? Year-end gross was $1.8 million last year.
Damn, that's pretty good. Yeah, for one job.
Big Swick digging.
Nice.
I did the math on it. I contributed about $650,000 of that.
That's pretty good. That's about 1/3 of that place. Yeah.
I got about 147 to show for it. Don't start smoking cigarettes, but if you do, work on Subarus.
There you go.
Yeah, something about the not want to work on cars attrition rate, which is leaving. January 1 out of 4 mechanics. By January 31, they ain't working mechanics anymore.
So about a month they last, right?
No, a year.
Oh, a year. Oh,
In
okay.
a year, over the course of a year, there's a 25% attrition rate.
I hear you.
25% of the workforce leaves the mechanic field every year.
1 out of 4 is quitting.
Subaru only has like 12%. We're less than half of the industry average.
That's pretty good.
Versus like a Kia store is going to be like 30,
40.
And with that statement, they can come after you, but if you're coming at it from a mechanic point of view, it's not insulting.
That Kias stink
It's not that they stink
to work on, I guess.
It's not that they stink to work on. People don't put money into things they don't value.
Yeah.
Kias sell majoritively economy cars.
Yeah.
So people don't put money in them.
It's kind of the reputation they've got.
Yeah, so people don't maintain them, and that's where your big money is. A mechanic is doing just maintenance work on cars.
I got you. Hyundai's used to be like the like bargain brand, like Kias. You know what I mean? Dude, I don't know.
Yugos.
Huh?
Snowflake
Yeah.
was actually a Hyundai senior master mechanic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep, in the 80s.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Hyundais?
He was a senior master tech. This is a guy who trained me how to be a mechanic after, I wasn't, a fledgling, a toadling.
Yeah. If you had a little.
He's the one who trained me. During the 80s, he was a senior master tech of Subaru, Porsche, Saab, Bitter, Yugo,
Damn.
Hyundai.
That's a lot of.
Did I say seat?
Nope.
And seat.
Damn. So
He was,
that
at one point,
8.
he was
7.
6, 5, 6, 7, 7. He was over his lifetime, he was 9 different.
That's
During
wild.
the 80s, he was a senior master on 7 different cars.
That's insane. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of knowledge. Also,
Yeah.
work on so many different brands of cars. Some that I don't even think are around anymore.
He got to see how so many different car brands.
Yeah, I don't think Yugo's even all around anymore.
No, they're not
I don't
around
think so,
anymore.
yeah.
Neither is Bitter.
Yep, I haven't even heard of them. I don't.
Seat doesn't even sell cars. Oh, and not Pantera, the other one. No, the De Tomaso Pantera. But there was another car. I can't think of it. It wasn't AMC. It was like a niche. It was a American boutique supercar company that was only around for like a year.
Like, oh, weird. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, he also had that too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, super niche. Like,
Yeah, pretty versatile. Like being a mechanic, I guess you could kind of shop yourself around and really, work on different brands if you want to. You know? Yeah.
well, you got to figure out what kind of mechanic you want to be.
Yeah. That's a good
You
question.
want to be a Subaru mechanic? You want to be Dodge? Like, that's what I mean. Like, I work on Dodges. I work on Subarus.
All right.
Fuck a fucking Ford. Every European car.
Yeah.
Fuck a transversely mounted engine.
All right.
Fuck an above ground lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole.
You know what you like, and that's what you're sticking to.
And I found exactly what I like where I got my job. You gotta work really hard.
Yeah.
Because they will lie. The grass, they butter you up with bullshit to become a mechanic.
Man.
You really got to see through the bullshit.
Damn.
Know how to pick your battles. And like I said, that's what I said. It'll make you want to do jumping jacks on your testicles wearing cleats. The car industry sucks.
Fair enough. Sales makes me kind of want to do that too. So, I feel you. Well, all right, man. I guess did we touch everything you got?
Yeah,
We did
I feel
your
like we had a
review.
pretty good outro.
Yeah, I think we did all right. I think I'm about ready to wrap this up. And, well, thank you for listening to Work Friends podcast. Once again, this is another episode. Yeah, I'm Tyler. This has been Redacted. And
Redacted.
yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.